What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, James Freeman here for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. It's been a tough week for the West High Rebels Hoops team as they fell in a heartbreaker Friday night to Bearden in overtime, 54-53. Went to the third place game against Maryville, who got surprisingly upset by the fifth seed William Blunt Friday night. And the 1 and 2 seeds, instead of playing for the championship as one would think, are instead playing for the third place game. And of course, last night, Maryville beat West for the third time, 71-60. We'll get into all of that. Big show tonight. We'll talk hoops. We'll talk about where we're going for the region, how that's going to shape up. Plus, we're going to talk a little football, and we'll also have a special guest, Mr. Troy Smith, going to be on, so it's going to be great. As always, just remember the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or West High School. These are solely those of this show, Rebels with a Cause, myself, and my co-host, who is the man, the myth, the legend. I got to bring him on, as I always do, with a proper introduction because he's that great. So I want to hear you out there, whether you're watching it live, watching it recorded, get some excitement, clap your hands together for my guy. He is the voice of the Runnin' Rebels for 18 plus years now. He has also called a numerous amount of games in other sports for West even before then. He was the 2003 Mr. West, voted by his peers, and he still is all West, a true rebel with a cause. And I'll tell you this, he will rap you and he will take you one-on-one. Kid and play from House Party got nothing on him. It's the one, the only, my brother from another mother, two-pair Tate, Mr. Brian Tate. Let's bring him on, everybody.
What's up? What's up?
What is up? So
going on, man?
Man, it's been tough, man. It's been heartbreaking. It's been one of those weeks that we should be celebrating right now. I should have a picture behind me of not the past but the present, and we'll talk about it. We really got humbled in this tournament, and a team can do two things with that, my brother. They can use it for motivation to get better, or they can just basically just disappear like many other mediocre teams do. But I know that this team is not mediocre. This team has to have something in it and find that eye of the tiger, not to be cliche. Find that rebel with a cause. And your cause is to come out as you're basically ranked as the 7th seed in this region tournament. And you've got to go to a tough place, a tough opponent, a team that's really only lost 6 games all year and looked pretty invincible. And the odds are against you. No one's going to pick you. But realistically, you got to dig deep and prove the naysayers wrong. But two-pair, what's been going on with you, man? Obviously you've been watching these from afar and so forth because of work and other obligations. But brother, what are your thoughts so far?
Well, my thoughts so far, I really think they might have peaked. They might have peaked early. Whereas we look at wins going into a district tournament, you got to have some momentum wins. And the Bearden game was such a momentum high. You sweep the regular season, but then you have a hiccup. You have a hiccup with Hardin Valley.
Yeah.
How do you have that hiccup with that team? But before that, you beat the team that is hoisting up a district championship.
And beat them handily twice.
That makes no sense to me. It really just makes no sense to me how you can beat a team handedly, the luck of the draw, they win the district championship that you kind of could be hoisting. I don't think this junior class right now, I got high hopes for it. I really do. I think this could be the class that could bring a state championship, the West. But when we look at how high they peaked against Bearden, that's going to be the microcosm of the season, because you get a chance to play Bearden again and you take them to overtime, they win, they put you in a predicament where you have to play Maryville again, a team that you just can't beat, apparently, because that's 3 times that you've lost to them in a season. Yeah. So from what I've been documenting and from what you told me and from the box scores and the game of runs, the turnovers, there's a microcosm of a lot of things that affected this ball club to put them in the position where they are, and it's all on their own. It's really no excuses. It's a team game, and I just really think they hit that peak against Bearden, and they haven't been the ball club that beat Austin East by 30.
Yeah.
You know, where's that team at?
Where's that team? Yeah. Yeah. Or the team that beat Central by 35. You know, I don't care, but Austin East is actually a good team. Austin East just finished runner-up to Alcoa, and they were playing for the 3rd time. You know, I mean, they're going to probably play again in the region next week. Let's be real. So, you know, I mean, that's the truth of it. So that's what was disheartening and so forth. But the truth of it is that realistically, I am almost to the point where it's like these slow starts have to stop, Two-Pair. They cannot happen. I mean, let me just – we're going to go – let's go to the Bearden game first, okay? Yeah. Because let me just tell you this. If that game goes the way West wins, and West had it won, okay? And there were things that happened throughout the game that despite all of that, West had a chance to win. But a kid throws up a prayer. He redeems himself because he was the kid that missed the 2 free throws, and Cowan goes down and makes a 3. So it was almost like we got that, but this was the kryptonite reverse back where we're the ones missing the free throws, and this kid gets her shot off with 2 seconds left and buries it with a hand in his face. Honestly, we're lucky we didn't get a foul call on that too at that point. But the refs let them play for the most part, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the fact is, Bearden could not hit a prayer at the beginning of that game. And I was watching it with our brother, TJ Blakely, shout out to him, and he was there with his son, Bo, and we're sitting there right behind the bench watching the game. And sadly, at one point, it was West 6, Bearden nothing. And no team scored in the first 3 minutes, so keep that in mind. West got a couple of big-time shots, and it was 6-0. And I look at TJ and I go, I think we might run him off the court tonight. Well, Coach Parrott calls a timeout for Bearden, gets them settled. And the end of the first quarter, now remind you, this is 8 minutes of basketball. It's Bearden 10, West 8 at the end of the first quarter. There is too much talent on this team to only muster 8 points in 8 minutes of basketball. You're averaging a point a minute at that point. So, and that 2 points was really the difference in a 54-53 game, you know, with all of it all said and done. If you score 5 more points in that first quarter, and maybe it's 13-10, and granted, it's tournament time, teams are feeling each other out. There were a lot of low-scoring games, which I was very surprised about, considering the level of talent and everybody that was playing in this district. But this team can ill afford to do that and follow it up the following game against Maryville and be down 5-0 right off the bat. And there's a trend when we get to that game. But in your opinion, Two-Pair, if you were coaching, how do you do you take a timeout early to settle the guys down and get better shots? Because they just weren't there. The good shots weren't being taken. There were crazy passes. They were going a little bit faster than maybe they should have. I mean, let's play smart basketball because there is no tomorrow. I mean, there's got to be urgency.
Well, and when you say that, I think it all reflects off of point guard play and tempo and pace, because if West doesn't dictate the pace of the game, they don't win.
Mm-hmm.
West isn't great at playing at anybody's ball game. They're up tempo, get you in your sets, rhythm, a lot of motion. A lot of motions ran for these players. And when I look at how they played these last few games, they didn't dictate any pace. They didn't show wherewithal, and it's like, are they packing it in early? Because when you lose to Bearden, then you lose to Maryville, it's just, or are you competing? Like, is there any showing of competing at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting yourself in this predicament where you got to travel to where you could have been playing at home
and had home court till the state if you wanted it, because it was one of those years where we had the even year and so forth. Next year, even if we win district, we'll host the first game, but we'll have to go to the other side, and that's just how it is. Back to that Bearden game though. I'll give you the box score. Devin Martin had 13 points. Kevin Jack had 11. Jalen Hill had 10. Reese had 9. Reese had a tough game. From my perspective, if you get Reese that had shown up that last week, because even with the losses to Hardin Valley and Maryville, he was carrying the team. He seems to have his best games against Maryville. And we'll talk about him last night, because without him, we really get run off the court last night. And I hate saying that. But that being said, the turnovers were just so costly. I mean, turnovers. And the thing is it's like, you got to be focused. You got to be locked in and make those right passes. Ball movement, like you said, motion, key. The spacing, it wasn't there. You're too cluttered together, and you're making it easy for the defense to defend you. And it's things like that I just did not like. I also didn't like the fact that we didn't use the depth and the rotation that got us that 2 seed. You can go 12 deep. And it's disheartening to see that Joe Dupree only had 2 points in the entire district tournament. I know it was just 2 games, but 2 points. And that's a marksman 3-point shooter. The fact that Robert Schuler didn't get any playing time, and the ultimate one. And again, don't make excuses on this show. I will always say that. But it would have been really nice to have Garrett Birch since the Bearden. I mean, that was the cost of winning that Bearden game. You lose Birch, and he's still in a boot. And it just sucks that we had an opportunity and it just was not in the cards. And it's going to be this season of what if. I really believe that when it's all said and done. The other thing, too, is I love Dane Britton being back. And I don't know what the starting lineup was before he got hurt. You would know that more than me, because I came in after football on the back end. But why change the starting lineup of Joe Dupree for him when I think he would be better served coming off the bench to spell Kevin or Devin? To have all 3 of them on the court, I get you want the size, but the rebounding wasn't there. In fact, I think it made it even tougher to get the space of what you're discussing, if that makes sense. And again, I'm trying to give the people at home a visual of what I was seeing. And you're more the basketball expert than me. I'm not even going to question that. But it's like I look at it and I was like, why are we not playing the dudes that got you here and can counter the 3-point shooting that's killing you, especially yesterday, where I felt two-pair, Maryville could not miss. I mean, they were getting whatever they wanted in the lane, from the elbow, from the 3-point range, wherever around that perimeter. And we just had trouble scoring to keep up with them. And you had 4 days since the Bearden game. It wasn't like you had, bam, 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 3 days in a row or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, based on what I said, I mean, and that Bearden game, there were a couple of things that happened. West really had a good second quarter, but unfortunately made a mistake of fouling a King Hubbard on one of his 3-pointers, and he had 3 threes in a row for 9 points. And on one of those threes, he got fouled and made it a 4-point play. And that 4-point play wiped out West's 4-point lead and tied it up again, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that second quarter, I kind of said to TJ, I was like, I wonder if West let one slip here that we didn't extend the lead in that second quarter, and it might bite us, in the fourth quarter or overtime. And surprisingly, it did and it didn't, and I'll get to that when we get to that fourth quarter. But I'm just trying to paint a picture for
Mm-hmm.
you key plays. At the 3-minute mark in the third quarter, Kevin Jack got a layup, and he got his hand slapped. I mean, the refs call the games the way they want to call them. I mean, but one thing TJ and me discussed is that the officiating is absolutely atrocious in high school basketball, two-pair. I mean, it is absolutely atrocious. I think that all those refs should apologize to every team and coach for not calling the game consistently, honestly. I saw way too many plays not called, swallowing their whistle when it's blatant. And then I saw times where ticky-tack stuff was called. And I can understand coaches' frustration with how the calls were being made. You want to fight for your guys. Your guys are also, But here's my thing, two-pair. You haven't earned that call from the refs. There are darlings in high school basketball. You are not one of them. You might run football, and there's been a lot of teams that have said West gets a lot of calls. I don't agree with that, but it's always in the eye of the beholder. I've seen West get screwed on many calls in football, but we'll call potato potato. My thing is you are there to keep the game in control. I think you posted that on Facebook over the weekend. The refs are there just to control the game.
Yeah,
You beautifully said it better.
And the thing is, to say this about the refs, there are some really great refs in high school basketball in Knoxville, Tennessee. There are some really great ones. One that comes to mind is Danny Chandler, Reno, Barry Mapp. Those are like, those are the guys that I rank as the best at officiating games. DJ Porter is a pretty good referee as well. Just the guys that I know. I may not know their names personally, but there are some really good ones that I worked with, from Rocky Top League, announcing UT and announcing for West. And the thing I love about Danny Chandler and whatever crew he's got, Reno or Barry Mapp, they're fair. They're just very fair.
Mm-hmm.
They're consistent, and they're now. I will say this though, what you also said about there's some high school darlings that get calls. The Jody Wrights of the world are going to call the
I call him the Izzo of high school basketball around here, by the way. He kind of looks like Tom Izzo, too.
The
But yeah, so. Yeah.
Hensons, the Lee Hensons of Carnes are gonna get that call. What's another one? uh, Coach Mitchell back in the day at Austin East, he's gonna get that call.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch
I
of.
thought Blevins always got a call for Bearden.
Got a call.
Blevins always got that call. He worked the refs the whole game with them handlebars. So yeah,
Dodging it, Farragut.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. You know what I'm talking about. And I guess what bothered me the most is that Coach, was fighting for his player. And he was like, "Are you going to call the call?" And the ref was right next to him and said to him, "That's a warning. No more," and so forth. And Coach, I get it. You talked and he teed you up. They put Nordine on the line, who's Mr. Automatic.
Mm-hmm.
And that 2 points is the difference between winning 53-52 in overtime, 54-53, or let's go a step further. Even if the kid makes the three at the end of the game, you're still up by 2 points and you've won the game. They have to foul you. And I get it. He was hot. Him and Parrott don't like each other. West and Bearden don't like each other, okay? We can't stress that enough, all right? And again, Bearden took that game personal. There was no handshakes after the game that we won on the last second three by Cowan. We kind of walked off the court. They walked off the court. The handshake at the end was even a little testy and so forth, but they still shook hands when the game was decided in overtime. But again, when the ref does say, don't talk, don't talk. I get that you want to prove a point, but at the same time, this team is not good enough to overcome that. And when it was such a tight game, you just tied it up and you basically gave them a 2-point lead by putting Nordine on the free throw line for free. That was a huge turning point. And that was the 3-minute mark in the third quarter. And realistically, in the fourth quarter, West really had outdone them. I mean, they finished them. And unfortunately, Reese missed a couple of free throws at the end that could have sealed it. And the 3-point shot happens. And then overtime was crazy. Overtime, we held the ball. You get, I don't know. I've never been to an overtime game in high school basketball before that one too, Pear. I'm sure you've been a part of them. But the sad thing is they put 4 minutes on the clock. West wins the jump ball. And we held the ball for 1 minute and 45 seconds, just swinging it on the perimeter. There was no penetration. They were just swinging the ball around the perimeter. And I was thinking to myself, are you holding for the last shot? Because there is no time clock in high school basketball. They will count. No shot clock. Yeah, sorry about that. And so they'll count 5 if you're engaging. But if you don't engage, you can just stand there and dribble the ball and be boring for 8 minutes, technically. But the thing was, it really hurt, in my opinion. And then the other thing, we talk about the depth. You use the same 5 that were probably gassed. Jalen, Reese, Chris Cowan, because Dane had fallen and kind of banged his knee or hit his wrist again, but they didn't play him after that. But the Cowan, Jalen, Reese, Kevin and Devin show was really giving Bearden fits in that fourth quarter. And I get that you want to go with those guys, but at the same time, Dupree spelled you for 30 seconds and got you a 2. Wished it would have been a 3 between you and me, but he shot it from the elbow. But I'm just saying that right there is key of that you were gassed. And again, use a couple of your guys, because Parrott was still subbing a little bit, but then Parrott basically went against Gaporo and said, my 5 against your 5, who lasts? And that same thing happened in overtime as well. Lee Smith got a putback that finished the game 54-53. Reese missed one of the free throws that would have made it 54-54, and you're going to double overtime. But at the end of the game, Kevin Jack gets absolutely obliterated. And Coach Parrott wanted to point out in the article written by 5 Star Preps, it was all ball. But there was some confusion. Was it a foul call? Is the game over? Is the ball out of bounds? And they said ball game's over. And the way he got nailed, Kevin did. I mean, the guy was on his shoulder to try to block it. And last I heard, you can't jump on somebody. And again, if you're going to let it play out, play it out. But if it's a blatant call, you've got to call that, regardless of what's happened. Because here's the thing. He's still got to knock down the 2 free throws. So you called a 3-point shot from half court for Hardin Valley that the kid makes all 3 free throws and they beat West by 1 point. So West didn't get the beneficiary of being on that side of the call. So again, different things, free throws, all of that, but you still had a chance to win. And it's a team thing, everybody, but I left that game. And then with what happened after, with William Blunt blowing Maryville off the court in their arena. And I thought to myself, we going to Oak Ridge. We're going to Oak Ridge. Prove me wrong, but we're going to Oak Ridge. Instead of hosting the second ever tournament trophy, your picture behind me right now, home court, us having fun Saturday night in the Rebel Rowdy House, dancing and playing, all we do is win. But we're going to Atomic Secret City as the 7th seed. It hurts me because you all are better than that. If you wanted Big Ed's Pizza so much, I would have brought it to you on Saturday night after we beat Central. I would have done that. That's how much I love this team in this school. But now we got to go to Oak Ridge and eat Big Ed's there with all their memorabilia. I'm done. Talk. So yeah.
Well, no. I want to say that's Lee Smith's son.
That's right. Thank you.
Lee Smith's son. Is it Brody Smith?
Brody Smith. Yeah.
Brody Smith.
Yeah. Brody Smith. And let me tell you something. He held his own. To talk real quick about the Maryville game, Bud, the spacing wasn't there. The pacing definitely wasn't there. Thank God for Reese and his 20 points. He couldn't miss, it felt like, from 3. And I'll give you the box score real quick on that one. Reese led all scorers with 20. Dane Britton had 9, a big 9 points. He really rebounded. Devin Martin had his 11. Kevin Jack had a tough game. He did not like the size of that 6'9" guy for Maryville. That guy altered a lot of shots, doesn't really have to leave his feet. So, despite the post moves, everybody converged on Kevin, and Kevin had a tough game with 7 points. Cowan had 5. Hunter Dance gave 4 big points off the bench in spelling for Kevin, which really helped with spacing. And then Jalen Hill had 4 points. And Jalen scored them 4 points in the fourth quarter. And it was like, man, I wish that Jalen would have really taken over that game, from the get-go. But it's tough to win when you have 17 turnovers. I tallied. And they themselves had 6 to 7, 6, 7, or 8, depending on how you want to call it. If the ref called it just a no play, like whoever got to it first and not a turnover, but 6 to 8 compared to 17, no wonder you lost by 11 points. And they could throw it in the ocean and it would go in. And we were afraid to penetrate at times. It was almost like we were afraid of their size. And they are a bigger team than West. While West has had that advantage in all the other games, Maryville had it in that one, I felt. And we're just picking their shots and making them. And Lambert did a hell. No, it's not. Is it Lambert? Is that their coach? Maryville's coach, Lambert. He had a hell of substituting, just doing really Maryville things and so forth. And I don't know what team was there Friday night against William Blunt, but the team that was the regular season district champions showed up and never really were threatened by us. The closest we ever got was 5 at halftime, but realistically, that third quarter just absolutely killed us when they went on a 5-0 run, put it at 10, and West really could not get it underneath double digits and ultimately lost by 11 points, despite we would be trading baskets with them and we weren't getting stops and buckets. So that's what I saw in person. So, Just disappointing. Just disappointing because I love this team. We know their ceiling. We know what they're capable of. But it's like they don't believe in themselves or something, and stop playing to the level of your competition. The one thing that I hope is that you get jacked up to play Oak Ridge and match them, and maybe you beat them. And then guess what's waiting for you? We will be on the toughest run you can think of. You've got to go to Oak Ridge. Then you're going to go play Bearden at the doghouse that we talked about as a very tough place to play.
Mm.
And if you survive all of that, there's not a doubt in my mind Maryville will be waiting for you at Maryville High School, the same place you just suffered these 2 defeats at. If you get that far.
Think it can happen?
I think it could happen. They can do it. They can do it. I mean, I think that they need to believe in themselves. They need to go out there and have fun. I don't think they're having fun out there, and I'm not trying to blame anybody or anything, but it's like, look, if you're burnt out, you're burnt out. I get it. But you guys have an opportunity that already some teams don't even have. They've already put the basketballs up for the year. And it's like, do you guys want to keep playing? Because you've got an opportunity in front of you to join the group behind me as the only region tournament champions in West High history. This 2012 group behind me was absolutely phenomenal in what they did. And realistically, you can be just as good as them. And there were some ballers on this team.
Oh, tons of ballers.
And they were deep too. They could hit you with the 3. They could go inside with their 6'6" guys. It's like, guys, become what you're supposed to be. This junior class, I'm challenging you. Even if it ends on Saturday, it don't end, because use it as fuel for motivation. You sophomore class, the freshmen, our Prince, get ready for next year, because next year there's no excuses. And it's up to you how far you guys really want to go. You can go far this year, but I know you can do it. 2Pair knows you can do it. So prove all the doubters wrong and send them Oak Ridge fans disappointed again, because we've done it before. This team beat Oak Ridge. It was at West. They were hosting, but I'm just saying, be that team. Be the team that we know you can be. And make it a run that hopefully extends to next year if you don't go all the way. But I would love to have another region plaque to join the group behind me. I really would.
Yeah, I think they got a chance, but I don't want to think that these guys are burnt, because just to play these last few games, could they be burnt from the season? It's been a crazy season.
I say that to myself too, that they have played a lot of basketball and it wasn't spaced out like in a normal season. That Snowmageddon, I think injuries have also been tough. You've not been fully healthy since that Austin East game. That's the truth of it. It kind of, there were rewards with the big wins, and there were some really heavy prices for those wins. Dane going down in the Austin East game. Reese kind of buckling his knee against Alcoa. Following that up with a loss to Farragut. And then, Dane getting back only to lose Garrett Birch, who was on fire in that Hardin Valley game and couldn't be stopped. And we could argue that William Blount and Hardin Valley games that we had at home, that was like, and then of course the Bearden win. Those 3 games were incredible and really showed the real West team. Not the one that lost to Maryville 61-48, lethargic coming off of that Snowmageddon, but realistically, that's why it was so disappointing. You beat William Blount, you beat Hardin Valley, you beat Bearden, you beat William Blount again, and you're right there with Maryville up, but you let them go on an 11-0 run with 3 minutes to go and lose the district regular season. And then follow it up with the Hardin Valley makeup game that was a disaster. And then you win at you beat Central big, but again, you should have blown Bearden out by at least 5 to 10 points. I know it's the playoffs in the district tournament, but realistically, you can't have 3-minute lulls and you only get 8 points in that first. That can't happen. You're too talented of a team. Just especially when you have size down low over them, that you should be going inside every time and not settling for jump shots. You just should not, and make the refs call the fouls, because they weren't doing it. So
yeah, and with that also, you beating the team twice. You know what they're gonna do by that. Like,
yeah,
where is the preparation for this? Like, video for this game. Who had the videotape? Because you're going up against a team that you've already beat twice.
great point.
It's just the preparation, man. Like, what was the preparation going into the district? Because they've been on the highest of highs. For them to play like this is just it's not where I expected them to be. This team being ranked with 28th in Tennessee, no, they're much better than the ranking.
Oh God, yes. I mean, and what was it at that one time you said we were 14th in the entire state when we were entering that Alcoa game? I mean, that's how much we were respected coming off that Heritage Holiday tournament and the big win against Austin East.
Yeah, because the Austin East game, you beat a team that lost their district championship to one of the best players in the state, and the guy that's going to Penn State, and Mr. Carter.
Yeah. District MVP, by the way. I mean, him and Cherry. That picture was beautiful yesterday that you posted. By the way,
yeah, man.
So much talent between those three guys.
Absolutely, the Cherry kids. They got to have the best backcourt in the state. I think. I mean, 1 and 2 as a freshman, and 1 as a junior. And you beat that team by 30.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go today. I have never went into Austin East High School and beat them by 30. Like, it feels like it was such a long time ago.
Well, I almost want to I want to see if that game's on Diamond Clear Media or something. Shout out to John Boynton and those guys or whatever for all they do covering West sports. But I almost wish that game was televised or something so I can see what the heck happened, because those are two different teams from what played. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to say what it is and so forth.
It is what it is. It's two different teams. It's totally two different teams.
Yeah.
It's not the same team we witnessed play that Austin East team. It's not the same team that played Bearden and swept Bearden. It's not the same team that did what they had to do up against William Blount. Like, beat William Blount handedly twice.
Yeah, I mean, we were up by almost 30 points, and the 16 or whatever the final tally wasn't even indicative of how dominant West was in that game. And then to follow it up and win by 14 on their home floor when they're salivating for revenge, but they put it together and beat the Maryville and Bearden team that beat you. So that makes no sense either. You know what I mean? Type of thing. None. Well, and let me just say this. So, we've got our guest for the evening waiting backstage. So I'm about to bring him on properly. But, real quick, want your – what now?
You know what we got to ask the first question of the night.
And that's your thing. Like, you've got to ask that one, because I got a couple of stories that.
Oh, I got stories.
Okay, so
I got stories,
and we'll keep it PG-13. You know what I mean. We'll keep it PG-13. But realistically, though,
Rebels After Dark.
Rebels After Dark. No, I wanted to share this with you real quick, because it's kind of major and so forth, because I'd love to do our picks and so forth of that. But realistically, they, of course, the games finished out yesterday. So Central will travel to William Blount. I think William Blount wins that one. It's at home and so forth. I think William Blount beats.
I like Wendell. I like Caden Wendell a lot.
Yeah.
Caden Wendell, he can get his shot at any time he wants. And with his dad coaching it, he gonna make sure he gonna get Caden Wendell is tough.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I just think William Blunt's is hot wet when they need to be.
Yeah.
Carnes at Bearden, I have no doubt Bearden runs them off the court. Maryville at Powell, I think Maryville beats Powell. I think Powell had a nice little season, but wait a minute, I gotta get this on here. Wait a minute. Shout out to my boy Michael Lynn. Laugh out loud. Rebels After Dark with Troy could go a lot of ways. I love it. I'm leaving that up there right there. So.
And that's one of the hardest hitting linebackers.
Oh
man.
Hey, and let me tell you something. I've been talking with Ivan Drago because that's what I called him. He knocked the Stallion out, and I'm just saying something that he's going to be on. We're going to get him on here, and he's ready whenever. Michael Lynn. So
look, let me tell you about this linebacker core before we get our guest on here. This is like we had Britton Leach, Jimbo Rayleigh, Tom Carmichael, Michael Lynn.
Yep.
God.
Sadat Faust. I mean, I like to just name them all on that group. I mean, they were all, I mean, Tim Thomas. Rest in peace, Tim Thomas. He was a linebacker at that time. So William Ergen was a linebacker.
William Ergen.
So yeah, I mean, they were all. I mean, I would love to have seen that competition back and forth and so forth. So just in them Oklahoma drills. And here's the last thing, two-pair, of course, our game against Oak Ridge. I believe West can win. I believe West can win. I mean, it's going to be tough, but they got to believe in themselves. But you know what's so crazy is it's kind of funny that you could potentially – if I was Oak Ridge, I'd be pissed that I'm playing West. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be pissed that that's the team that you're playing. But at the same time, this is an opportunity for our side to show – why our district was superior to theirs, and we could sweep them. And that's never really been done before. And this could be the year that happens. So, is it possible? Anything's possible. History has shown that. But they got to show us something. Something like the Austin East game and the Bearden game from 2 weeks ago, not what we saw this tournament, which I've almost argued might be a curse. I've seen good West teams disappear in this tournament for whatever reason. And it's just almost something that they need to overcome next year, and they'll have an opportunity next year. I really believe that. I don't know who's hosting, but they have an opportunity. But without further ado, let's bring him on because he's been patient backstage and he's a busy man. And you talk about a rebel with a cause. Go for it, brother.
And he was the 2001 Homecoming King.
He was, and he didn't even tell me that, and I forgot about that too. Back when we used to do Homecoming King.
I was the 03 Homecoming King. That guy right there that we're about to announce, he was the 01 Homecoming.
Can I ask you a question? Wasn't Stewart 02? Wasn't Stewart Oaks 2002? And he was in his basketball uniform. I really think that he was.
Really?
I have to look that up. I'll have to look the yearbook up on
I looked that one up.
But that was back when we did Homecoming King. And Troy's always been a snazzy dresser. He looks good in a suit, honestly. But, man, he was looking sharp that night. Had I forget who was on his arm that night escorting him, but he had that big old crown on his head, honestly. So, yeah.
He's definitely like – I love the fact that we bringing on – all these great student athletes, but one of the just most funniest dudes I've ever met in my talent.
If that dude couldn't put a smile on your face, there's something wrong with you. You will never smile in your life, honestly. So,
man, a true big brother. When I first got to West, he's another one of those dudes that took me under his wing. Oh man, I love this guy. My mom loves this man. She asks about him more than any of my friends, really? Best friends. She asks about what this guy is doing every time. And when I first got to West, before I got to West, this dude, I literally heard his name on every tackle. Every tackle before I got to West. It was tackle by George. That's all you heard. It's all you heard. Troy Smith.
Dude, to watch him play, man, he was a one-man wrecking show, honestly. So, again, we talked about Mike Morrow last week. Where are those games at? Where are the games for when we played, and so forth like that? Just in a dumpster somewhere, from VHS tapes. I don't know. But that being said, I'm going to bring him on. Homecoming King 2001, known as Big Troy Cap'n T, class of 2001. Let's bring him on. He is a true rebel with a cause. I'm so excited about this one. Let's bring him on. Everybody give him a warm welcome. Mr. Troy Smith.
Clap it up, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I was bumping a little bit of Captain T there. I'm sorry. Can you see me on the screen? You might have to change the view there, James. I don't know if you can see. If I move too far to the left, to the right, you're going to see my whole garage.
Oh, we're good. No, you're perfect. I want you to stay right there. You look great, man. You look great.
Can you hear me good out there, people? Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Yeah, we hear you great, man.
BT, does it sound like you on the radio, BT? No? Does it sound like you at all? Okay.
That's better than me. Hey. So, Troy, OG, thank you for pulling up to the slab.
You see my garage on this side. If you look into you probably see my garage over there. You say, oh, God, Jesus of Nazareth. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's go.
He even dressed up for the show. He's always looking good, man. He always is. So
hey, this is a long way, baby. It's a long way from cut off t-shirts and cut off shorts and house shoes, baby boy.
The Devos,
bro. Yeah. Look at your boy getting old too. Look, the hairline pushing our way back. Jesus of Nazareth.
Dude,
Jesus.
At least you guys got something up top. Come on now. So
hey, my boy James over there telling everybody he better get a haircut. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna get my hair cut. Look good.
You know what it is though, man? This place is wonderful. I got a facial, they do my beard, they do my manicure, and she makes me look good. Miss Kim Castle is a goddess, honestly. She's wonderful. So
well, you look good, pal. Stallion looks great. While y'all was talking, I'm like, I hope they talking about me. The way they up here, this one guy, he makes you feel like this. And my mom, man, Jimbo Rayleigh. I thought y'all were going to say somebody else's name instead of mine. I'm like, okay, cool. Shoot. They talking good. So you know what I'm saying. So I'm glad to be on here with y'all, man.
Hey, and you got somebody watching too. Your brother from another mother, Mr. Michael Lynn. That's my boy right there.
That is actually my brother. I don't want to say white brother. That's my actual brother.
Yeah.
We went back from Rue Golden Bears, baby, slapping them pads back in the day. With y'all was talking about Austin East and stuff from Corey Anderson. I think his name last Anderson, Alton Thompson, Lil Reggie, Lil Roger. BT, those guys. So TJ Bishop, we got Ronnie Campbell. These some guys that was just hood folk. Lil Larry Whitten, you know what I'm saying? That was on. I mean, we just got a lot of people. So me and Michael Lynn grew up together, going up in Coach Howell's attic in 90-degree weather, 100-degree weather, trying on them pads and helmets and everything else. So yeah.
So,
Golden Bears, baby.
So OG, we ask everybody this question on the show, and we really do appreciate you coming on the show. You've meant so much to my life. I can't even tell you. But who was the first person on the football field and then on the basketball court to bust your ass?
Nobody. God dang, I'm an OG. No. Look,
I believe it, honestly. I don't know who the hell was
answer.
Hey,
nobody, God dang it.
I believe it. So
best answer.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. When it came when I played. I mean, I just say first time ever playing Little League football. I'm gonna be honest with you. Michael Lynn just had the big head and big neck, and he was skinny.
He was Ivan Drago, man. That's what I'm calling him, Ivan Drago.
But I gotta say, my first hit that I felt the bell ring was Alton Thompson, though. When he was little.
When he was little.
Yeah, when he was little. When he was younger. When I first never played full contact pads before. And used to go in head first and just diving and hitting folks. And he was a lineman back in the day. Y'all, that he was a offensive lineman. Him and Michael Lynn. Wow. And me. And with Michael Lynn, unfortunately, he just always been skinny, but always been a lineman. He just always been that dude. Just put that wood.
Real quick about Michael Lynn. Sorry to cut you off. Remember, he was an offensive lineman technically, and he won that trophy at the KFL Jamboree of the fastest offensive lineman. So yeah, he's got that trophy somewhere.
He always got that all the time, man. But Alton, he hit me the hardest at one time, and then I think someone else mentioned his name before on another show, but Sean Anderson that played at Fort Farragut.
Yeah, Sean Sanderson, the Wolverine.
Sean Sanderson. That's when I felt some big country white boy hits like, this is different. Them boys back over in Farragut Halls, man, that was totally a different ball game, man. They put that wood to you. You felt that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. That's who put in basketball. I really never, I just let y'all do y'all thing on that. You know, when I played, now, if y'all didn't know, I played basketball as a freshman.
Yeah, and you know what? A teacher brought up that yesterday at the game because they said, "Hey, who you having on as a guest this week?" I said, "Troy Smith." They said, "Didn't he play basketball as a freshman?" I said, "I think he did." Actually,
yeah, I did. I led the league probably in foul by just stepping on the court. So back in the day, you couldn't even step on the court without foul. I'm like, I just got out here. I mean, you know, so that. But yeah, I played basketball a little bit when I was a freshman though. But in basketball though, I would say. When I put it to it, you ever heard of Chris Wiley?
I've heard of
we used to play out in the project stuff. So when it come down to it's not really a school thing. It's that we played one day and he broke me down. So you know what I'm saying? I learned the legend that, of like getting broke off. You know what I'm saying?
Hey Troy, talk to me about that sophomore year when you got like I can just remember your sophomore year. Every West football game I went to, you made a tackle.
Yeah.
Like, you were
good. That was in South Door.
That was
South Door had like 12 tackles that game. That was I remember that like it was clear. Even to the point that Sean Nichols in film said, "Who was number 35?" That's bad when your own teammates don't know who you are. See, back in the day when we had Coach Riley as our coach and all that, you used to get them stickers put on your helmet and stuff.
Yep.
So that was what we used to shoot for. I mean, so, but yeah, against South Door, man, I had like 12 tackles a game. Had like 6 solos, 6 assists, and I was out there dominating that day. But that was back then. I learned when I went to Tennessee State, I wasn't that good. I learned real fast that there's other people better than you. That's for sure.
Isn't that something how that happens? I mean, and you have to work harder because somebody's working just as hard, if not harder than you in the weight room and all that conditioning.
Yeah. Speaking of the weight room, man, I mean, y'all remember back in the day, James and BT, I don't know if you played football much. I'm just we used to pride ourselves on those shirts with the weightlifting limit on it. 300-pound club, 250 club. That was the thing to do. Now these kids don't want to do that. Lifting weights. And when I see somebody lifting heavy weights, I'm like, why are you doing that? You don't need to do that no more. But I remember we used to look forward to that.
I was mostly in there when basketball season. Like
for sure.
I was in there with
basketball, right? Yeah. Now let me hold on. Let's go back. BT and I go back way back. College Homes. BT and I go back when we used to be having BT used to be that guy when we was rapping. He's like that little brother that always wanted to be around. That always probably rap better than everybody there, but he always wanted to be around. So we're like, man, bring him around, dog. Bring him around. You remember we used to go into at Bearden to the tech lab and freestyle on in the tech lab every morning.
Yes.
Every morning, man. So that was fun back in the day. I mean, I go back to BT like, man, that guy been around. BT had a song called The Bible. Y'all remember that, do you?
The basic instruction before leaving.
I took him to the studio and he recorded that thing, The Bible. Yeah, baby. Wow. So yeah, BT been a legend out in these streets too now.
Appreciate it. Nah, man, you were like a super big bro. Man, you took me to work. You took me to workouts. You know what I'm saying? You got on me. You was like, you taught me how to write. I didn't even know how to write. Check this out, Jane. I didn't know how to write 16 bars. I didn't know what like all measurements, and I learned a lot. Like Troy's Knoxville Bound that came out.
The ozone click, man, held it down, baby.
The ozone. They even had Troy's music playing before the pregame.
So when y'all was talking about that, I was talking about y'all was talking about how you with that guy, I can't remember
Mike Morrow.
Yep. Y'all was talking about the pregame stuff and how they had a bad pregame. I'm thinking like, dang, They used to play a lot of ozone that day too. Back in that time. Keith was on there. Keith played a shout out to Keith. He was the main guy putting it on there for us, man. So we used to get some pub. But man, shout out to my boy. Y'all probably remember 1340 back in the day. K-Jam 1340. That's the only black station back then.
Yeah, DJ.
It was on AM, wasn't it? It was on AM.
Yeah.
Yep.
And shout out to my boy T. Essie, big dog. T.
Thomas Essie. Yes. Yeah, he played ball.
Put T. Essie on the map. T. Essie put Captain T in rotation with Ludacris and everybody else back in the day. So shout out to him getting that done, man. But I'm here to talk about whatever, basketball to whatever y'all want to do, football. I'm just glad to be on here with y'all, man. I'm being honest with
you. Troy, so here's the thing. Obviously, we did this PG-13 a little bit. And
no, bump that. Michael Lynn said it best.
Yeah, After Dark.
This can go everywhere. This
hey, real quick. I'm going to throw this out there. Wait, hold on a second. Again, see down low. This is us talking. This ain't West High School, so I just want that clear, okay? So, all right.
Man talk.
So I want to let you guys know that me and my wife, we took a drive on Saturday. And I get told a story by Michael Lynn, not realizing how ironic that it was that we're passing by this. And my wife, Sandy, says to me, man, that water's really low there, the river there and so forth. And I was like, well, I'm going to tell you this. You don't know this, babe, but there's a pair of shorts that belong to a teammate of mine that are at the bottom of that river from our wonderful trip right before football camp. It was a team bonding exercise. Down the Ocoee River.
All them black folk out there doing whitewater rafting, knowing everybody can't swim. Goddamn.
And listen, the Italian Stallion, he might swim, but I don't play with rocks that can break your leg or boats that flip and so forth like that. But I'm going to tell you this. I was in this boat just hoping everything was good. We had life jackets on. And then there's a boat right in front. And I think Michael Lynn was on that boat. Troy Smith was on that boat. Tim Thomas, Michael on that boat. Yeah. And next thing I know, I'm hearing the biggest scream I've ever heard. I thought somebody was dying. The boat flipped over.
I was, boy.
And Troy Smith is like, I can't swim.
No. I'm not talking about. Now, I can swim. What I was saying was mama. Now, BT, whenever you start saying mama, you at that last rope like something ain't right. God. So what it was, man, and I heard y'all talking bad about Rodgers. I ain't gonna get Rodgers got on my nerves a little bit, but I'll tell you this though. Rodgers challenged me though. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. Because going into my senior year, man, I think I heard you and Terry was talking about this, Terry Maples. You get that senioritis. See, look, we wasn't like the West High School that we are now. No. I love to talk about I'm from West High School right now. I mean, I went to West High. I talk about it anyway, but now it's like, hey, yeah, we dominate now. Yeah. But back then, you work hard and go 2-0 for a little bit. I remember my junior year, we went like 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. We thought we was gonna be doing the big stuff. That's when Coach Rodgers first got there.
Yep. Had
new uniforms. We was all that. Everything was brand new. And so he really challenged us going into my senior year. But I was at that point. I had senioritis, man. I like, man, bump all. I got a car now. I'm driving everywhere. I got fatter. So I was like, man, I was getting letters. Tim, Coach Tom, I keep saying I want to say Tim, but Rodgers was the first coach that I actually was able to get letters, though. Now, when Coach Wilson was there, Big O said something.
Big O, yeah. He said that.
Big O said the fact that, he made basically alluding to the fact that, if you don't have a coach really pushing you to do certain things against certain places, it don't matter what they're doing. Nowadays you can be online and make your own tapes and make everything. But back then, man, we had VHS and, Coach Rodgers, due to his, he had all that plug coming from that guy that came up here with him to go to UT.
Oh, Constantine Richmond.
Yeah, he had the plug. Everybody wanted to talk to him. So I'm getting letters in my box. I mean, I remember when Tommy used to get letters. This boy, I went on a recruit trip with Tommy. That's a story. But when Philip Former come to you and pull you out the line, Tim talking about Tommy Winton as a freshman, all the seniors were looking like, who is this guy? Philip Former came up to Tommy and said, hey, welcome to, hey, Tommy, how you doing? They taking care of you? Yeah, I mean, this dude knew him on first name basis. So that was an aha moment. You know what I'm saying? But when Coach Rodgers was there, man, I was getting letters. I started getting to the point, I'm like, man, I'm doing it when I really wasn't. I watched too much TV is what it was. I watch too much program.
Troy, let me ask you that, man, because I remember you actually at that same football camp after the Ocoee River and so forth like that.
We'll get back to that story too.
Yeah, we'll go back to that. Hey, we got all the time you have, man.
All the time.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you something. Why did you feel the need to apologize to the team when you were trying out for captain? I mean, we all had to have speeches if you felt you were good enough to be a captain, but you really apologized to the team about being fatter. And I was just like, what? Like, I mean, I like, explain that to me, brother, if you don't mind.
You know what? You probably remember. I don't remember that, but that probably did happen because that year though, man, I just really got to a point I really didn't care. Really, I really didn't. I was living off of just basic talent, not knowing I can do better. So Coach Rogers sat me down. I don't know if y'all know, I didn't start the first game, the first couple plays on purpose.
Against Bearden, that first game?
The very first, I don't know who it was against. I just know the first game I didn't start, and then I ended up getting hurt, and then I had to be out for 6 weeks anyway. But Coach Rogers sat me, he brought me, Tim, and a couple other seniors. I think it was mainly black guys though, but he brought a couple of seniors together. Look, he brought us together and said, look, man, y'all not doing all you can to make this team better. And he said, if you don't get better, you're not going to start. Now, I've been starting my whole career. I ain't never sat on a bench. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't even thinking nothing about it. And the guy that was in front of me was Lil Doug. Y'all know Lil Doug?
Doug Gwynn. All 125 pounds of him.
Yep. He started in front of me.
Yep.
Just to prove a point.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That really did piss me off, but I learned from that. I learned a lot from that. That year I learned a lot, but he challenged me in a lot of ways. But I didn't see it then. I see it now, though. You know. But if we had, and I know we don't like to go there, but if we had a little bit extra coaching in regards to just learning certain techniques, I could have been dominated even more. So I learned that coaching really does matter.
Well, you want to know something? You talk about Troy, and if you've watched all the episodes, and I know you binge watched them and everything, and thank you for all the love and support. But realistically, you look at it today, they have 11 coaches. We only had 6. If you think
right,
about it.
I get it.
Coach Witt, Coach Mays, Coach Rayleigh, Coach Boggs, Coach Cummings, and Rogers. That was it.
And majority of them was volunteers.
Yeah,
Coach Witt wasn't a coach.
No,
his son was there.
And he was freshman coach.
Yeah,
too.
but when it comes down to people that coach, we have y'all remember Coach Orlando?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, a lot of these coaches were just coaches that may have played a little bit here and there, but they really didn't know the techniques of getting better. So when I got to college to play ball at Tennessee State, I just knew about the A gap, B gap, C gap. I didn't know you go all the way down the line to another couple letters.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you go down a couple lines when it comes down to 9 technique, this type of techniques. All these different type of moves that these boys from Florida and all these other places doing. I'm like, they've been doing this for years. I'm just now doing it now. If I would have known that before, the rip and pull and everything, all I knew was titty bumping, as Coach May would say. Quit titty bumping. But all we was doing was just going head up and then move around and then go somewhere else. We didn't even know to just attack one side of the body, get skinny, don't get reached. Well, I didn't know none of that stuff till I got to college. You know what I'm saying?
And now it's like second nature when they teach that. Like,
yeah, now it's normal. But a lot of those coaches were doing it you only get like a couple extra dollars to coach. You know what I'm saying?
It's still low. It's still low. But
it's still gonna be low. But these guys now may have a little bit more passion because they actually know what they're doing compared to having a passion for young people. Am I making sense?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
There's one thing, you can have passion for young people, but then you have passion for young people and also the game in general to where you teach that thing like you a professional coach. But the reason why, to answer your question, the reason why I think if I did, I apologize because I didn't do better. I could have done better. You know what I'm saying? I could have done better, and I could have. When I started getting those letters in 11th grade, I thought I was on it. Because like I said, I watched a lot of program, probably Remember the Titans, whatever movie that came out. You know, we watched a lot of football movies, and I thought that they supposed to come to my house in the projects, feed my mama, offer us a couple dollars, you know.
You wanted to be Darnell Jefferson that Two-Pair played in that movie.
I'm doing all that. And I learned that it's not like that. If you're not the main guy, you're not gonna have nobody come to your house at all. But I never took a recruiting trip. It's a lot of things I learned later. Like Marshall recruited me. Dayton or University of Dayton, Ohio. It's a bigger schools compared to just ETSU and those type of schools. Yeah. Bigger schools have recruited me, and I never took a trip. I never knew how
Penn State sent a letter to Tommy. Penn State sent a letter to Tommy.
Tommy Alton had tons of letters.
Yep.
I mean, these people had tons of letters in their locker. We used to get them like, how many you got? How many you got? Michael Lynn probably got some too. How many you got? And we never took advantage of that because we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
No excuse. We just didn't have a coach say, get on a plane or let's take you over here, unless you were, unfortunately, a high-profile player. If you're the high-profile player, they telling you to go take a recruiting trip. But, you know, that ain't their fault either because they didn't know. But it's also had a part to play. No daddies in their life. No, those coaches that was volunteering, they may not known either. So I don't even take up a lot of time. But, man, I've been waiting to talk to y'all about this stuff because, you know, I'm liking the fact we get to reminisce, but also know that there's a lot to play in what we could have done better then, and as we try to teach people now.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And, you know, the other thing, too, is you were such a character. You know, we were just talking about basketball teams, just like they ain't even having fun out there. Like, I don't know what that is about, but, you know, you got to have fun. This is a game, and you don't know when it's going to be your last play in any sport. You know what I mean? Type of a thing. And like you said, look at that. We were sat a couple plays, and bam, you get out there, and then you get hurt, and you miss 6 games. I mean, look how different that season could have gone, you know, not only for you, but also for the team, because like you said, you go from you to 125 pounds. I love little Doug Wynn, but come on now. He's not.
No, look. So there's some videos of some games that Fulton has up, 2000 and 2099.
Yeah,
and even 98.
Watching that. Yeah.
So 98, I was like, man, in 98, I was sorry. I mean, I'm talking about, because I didn't look. They tell you to do a play, and you go do the play, no extra stuff, because I wasn't coached on. After you do that, now do this. They say go upfield 5 steps, and then you wait and don't get outside, and make sure you keep outside contained. That was it. Not extra stuff. I was like, man, I was a robot. Then 11th grade year, it was more damage. I was out there just doing whatever. Then 12th grade year, I got hurt. But then you could see the bigger Troy coming in that wasn't as moving and wasn't as quick. It's just a lot of things like, man, boy, you just could have done. Now in college, it was a different ball game. And, you know, I was on the bench. Now I found out. I seen what it was like to sit on the bench. Like, that sucks. Yeah. That sucks big time. To sit on the bench and say, man, you're not the man no more like that. They really make you start thinking about stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Grade, that 11th grade, you guys, that you and Michael, that defense was ferocious. I love
man, we had dude. We had Daniel Stewart on one end, the Gronk before Gronk was back then. And that was catching every pass. You know what I'm saying? That was just a dude out there on a mission, just going. You had Sean Eccles on one end. You had your boy Lynn and William in the back right here behind me. Then Tim got in every once in a while doing linebacker, but he mainly played offense. I mean, we had some things. We started out. I remember we was in the newspaper at 2-0.
Yes.
And they thought we was going to go to championship the way we was out there playing. We was 2-0, dog. Then we ended up being 2-1. Then we ended up being 3-1. Our record was great compared to what we were before.
Yes.
You know, we went from 3-10. I mean, 3-7 with Big O and them. And Big O was I was supposed to have been the baby O. I was supposed to be the next O, right? I played fullback and defensive tackle. Well, he played linebacker stuff. But even in basketball, they was like, okay, we're gonna mold you into being him. You know what I'm saying? But I was two different players, man. But that was the one thing that I used to look up to Big O. Big O was my guy. Saying, man, if that big guy can do it, and he wasn't even really big back then, but if he can do it, I can do it. So we went from 3-7 to 4-something to 6-4, blown out by Cleveland, and then we went to 4-6 the following year, my senior year. But we lost some close games on my 11th grade in 99, 2000.
Yeah, those 2 years we lost a lot of close games. I mean, like it was.
Yeah, we almost beat Maryville that year. We almost beat Maryville.
The Sean Eccles game. Sean Eccles was just an absolute man-child in that 99 Maryville game. So, and there's a story that I want to bring up that TJ told me to ask you. You know, talk about Rogers, whatever, but Rogers had a hell of a game plan against Maryville, trying to neutralize that defensive end of theirs. And he had you at fullback and Tommy at tailback, Alton at quarterback.
Yes.
And basically that defensive end didn't want none of you in that second half.
I wish this the time I wish I had. I remember I went back to the high school after my freshman year of college and asked Coach Cummings for those tapes. He threw them all away. I'm like,
He did.
man.
No, he did. He
told the truth. He said, Troy, we just didn't have the room for all that. I'm like, man, you should just call me because you don't get those back. Those memories are gone.
They're all gone. I mean, tapes got taken by certain players because I asked him about it in 2005, just to let you know. And I'm like, how could that be thrown away? That was just 3 or 4 years ago. I asked that. And apparently everything had been converted to digital. It was disheartening. It was really disheartening. So, but anyway.
You said a fact. You said something the other day, James. I didn't even know. But when you said that at the bottom it says in small print, they didn't keep records for a certain period of time, dog.
Yeah. Yes.
That was tragic.
It was heartbreaking.
That's tragic, dog.
It was heartbreaking, and it's like so here's the thing, Troy, and I want to invite you back because I want to invite a panel of guys, offense, defense, what have you, to talk about great players at certain positions, you know what I mean, type of a thing. And the sad part is we've got, Turbo's been documented. Documented. But there's nobody that there's got to be somebody in the 70s or 80s that had some tackles or something, I mean, you know what I mean? But realistically, it's like from 93, 94 on to now, and only if we keep that memory alive, like nobody will know that Jimbo Raley played 4 games and already had 100 tackles.
I remember you said that, and Jimbo, my guy.
Yeah.
But if you gotta remember who was taking stats up there at times too. Because hey, Jimbo had some tackles and he wasn't even in the game. You know what I'm saying? That's my dude now. But I remember sometimes, because when we playing defense, Michael Lynn might remember this. I'm listening for my name. If I was in on it, I'm wanting to hear my name. I want everybody to hear my name being called out. And it was times where it's like Jimbo Raley on the talk. I'm like, Jimbo not even here. He was hurt. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, how he got? And so every Saturday, and the other people on here probably know too, if you play defense or offense, but mainly defense. Every Saturday when you wake up, I used to go to this, get my new Sentinel before I go sell lineups, and I used to look and see where my tackles was at. You can go back in the day. I mean, I used to love getting up on Saturdays to look at stats.
And let me tell you something, whoever was doing the prep extra at the time, Jesse Smitty obviously has taken it to another level with 5-star preps, and shout out to Toyloy Brown. He does his best new prep extra. But realistically, back then, if you submitted it to the paper, they'd have it in there. They would. I'd look Saturday morning to see.
Oh yeah. Oh man, dude. It was there. Like Mike Lynn said, 60 might look like 40. But but the fact is that I used to get up every Saturday, look at that and see the totals. I remember one time he did have like 100-something tackles. And his senior year, I think he was hurt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when that was my junior year, his senior, he was hurt a lot of that. So I'm like, man, that's kind of awkward. He got 100 tackles more than me, and I've been out there the whole time. But I was a traditional lineman back then. Like I was just plugging holes. Nowadays these guys going out and making sacks. They doing techniques and moves and getting out the way. I was a hole plugger. That was it.
Did you get to watch any of this year's team? Because I shared a stat with Two Pair that I didn't even know, but I went to the banquet here I help keep the stats. Okay, I help keep the stats. But the thing is let me tell you something. They'll go back through the film to make sure that we ain't padding stats. Not that we ever would and so forth, but they go back. So when you get a tackle, you earn it. So shout out to my guy Ryan Scott. When he got 176 tackles, that was 176 tackles.
I believe it.
Games. Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't taking nothing from the Riley boy. None.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Now, I remember I went hit over Riley or Jimbo, and he hit hard, but it wasn't like the legend. How you got the legend, like you don't want to get hit by that guy. You got to realize too, I was just as big. I was bigger. Yeah. So, when you hear legend long enough, you start to believe even, he had, he had 6 arms or something, you just believe a lie, believe a legend. So he used to be hitting hard too, though. But Michael Lynn used to put that wood on folks a lot. We all know that.
Let me just tell you this, to go from Bearden to you guys, so here I am getting hit by Roy Nico and Wayne Hartman and Chris Ernst in linebacker drills. And I'm thinking to myself, I could take this Michael Lynn guy or whatever. I mean, Wayne Hartman, Roy Nico, and Chris Ernst are all 6'3", 225, 230. And this guy busts me like I've never been busted before. And I'm on my back and I go, what the hell was that?
I don't think Michael has a brain though, because he goes so hard, he don't be thinking. You know what I'm saying? But then,
he said he's going to work on his Russian.
But now TJ Blakely, Mayor TJ, That's a big boy. He had the look of that dude is a freaking monster, right? You know what I'm saying? He had that whole look. But I'll tell you who was the most dominant person on the team. Y'all gonna laugh though, but Big Bo Alcorn, baby. I love seeing Bo. Bo was my guy. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
I know. Hey, Bo used to be that. When I see Remember the Titans, he remind me of that dude Lastic a lot. You know, Bo was my dude, man. Hey, we had some good times, man, back in the day. When we even went to when we did go to the playoff game, one thing I loved about West that I learned about how good I had it compared to schools even today. Our training table, even though it wasn't much. I know I look at the stuff now. So you asked the question, though. I look at the games now. Yes. I watched a documentary that was impeccable. The documentary was nice. Man, I just wish you just wish you can go back there and say, man, I wish I had that. You know, so I wish I had all that, but you got to move on from that, dog. It's here now. It's gone. Yeah. But we had good times with B Bell. You know, B Bell out here acting and stuff now.
Yep.
Y'all probably don't remember. Lynn might remember this, but can you make it clap? And I'm not talking about Paul. I'm pausing, but can you make it clap? And I'm not talking about booty cheeks.
The bounce.
Yeah, there you go.
The bounce.
That's what I say. Can you do that though? We did some crazy stuff, dog. Good times, man. And another thing that Rogers did that was cool is that he actually brought our seniors together by going to different people's houses and doing dinner. That was cool. You know, I remember when Coach Wilson retired. When he retired, I think it was at Central. I think the last game he retired. You correct me if I'm wrong, James, but
it was. In fact, I heard a really sad story about that. Like I guess you guys were. I mean, because Central was damn good. You know, like at that time. I mean, you know, and I think Kevin Lane. Shout out to him. He's gonna get him back. It's gonna take a minute. But back then, Central was one game away from winning state in that year. That 99. A couple of years later, but the remnants of that team. I was told that you guys were getting beat. And Wilson cried, we
all but dude, look, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I only played for Wilson for 2 years.
Yeah,
and I'm up here crying like I know the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh God, Coach, you retiring? And he looked at me like, for real? I mean, you don't even know me like that. But when it come down to it, I got more of the getting you coaching type thing, and it could have been because he knew he's on the back end about to leave when Rogers got up there, though. Mm-hmm. I'm just being straight up with you. Yeah. I mean, then also he changed the whole game. I mean, we had the whole new uniforms and everything else. We was swagging out, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Where it was like a different ball game, man. So, but my senior year, man, we had some good times where we actually got to build as a team as seniors, and that's when he thought he had the relationship we had with us to be able to tell us, dude, you're not doing right. Get it together, or you're gonna be sitting on the bench. You know, that came with building team. So yeah.
Right.
Trooper, you got a question for him?
Yeah, Troy. So I wanted to ask you this. When you started noticing the difference between Rogers and Wilson, did that change your whole mind frame about high school sports then? Did you see there's a chance to be on that other side of going to D1 schools, but you knew in your heart you was going to TSU though, right?
No, I knew in my heart that I didn't never. Only black school I heard of was KC. That's the only school I heard of.
Wow.
So when I remember I said, oh, that's the little schools that be playing on BET. You know, because they looked like it was guys that was smaller. The filming was different. They looked smaller. I'm used to them guys at UT. When I was doing lineups on the sideline doing stuff, those guys was giants. They was guys to us. So all I knew was the big schools. That's all I knew. So I'm thinking, like I said, I watched too much movies that's not real. You know, I thought I was going to get treated a certain way. So I started getting lazy. So to answer your question, I actually thought I had made it somewhere because I got some letters, not knowing it was another step. Am I making sense?
Wow. Yeah.
So I mean, I got the letters and I said, okay, I'm doing it. So I used to go home, literally. If my mom listened to this, she can tell you. I used to go home and say, anybody call me. This is when you had to have the house phone. Anybody call me, they leave a message. And they're like, yeah, this coach from Lambeth called you. This coach from here called you. I thought I made it, BT. James, I thought I was on my way.
Yeah.
Not doing nothing extra. So at that point, I stopped. I mean, I slowed down.
Well, and this is important to document, and this is why I like to have you guys on, because here's the thing. The kids now don't understand how that works. The influence of social media now and how everything's out there and so forth like that. Your film can be uploaded that night. I mean, it's incredible to see the different angles that the coaches and me watch Saturday mornings of the games. I mean, you can get every nook and cranny down, and that's why
what,
the
James?
program is successful.
But this is what's disappointing about that is that when they know all that and they still don't go nowhere, that's your fault. Because I see players in basketball, football, baseball, and all that, and they're so used to it being given to them.
Yep.
And you can upload whatever, and they think that, I mean, it's just like a video. If you don't put any marketing behind it, and you're doing all these videos on YouTube, and you got 3 or 4 people watching, and you mad because only 3 or 4 people watching. You're not trying to get into the algorithm. You're not trying to send the stuff out. You're not trying to say share this and share that. You got to put a little forth of effort to it to actually show, hey man, I'm about that.
Yep.
And waiting on them just to look at your video. And I mean, it's crazy where you have no excuse. There's no excuse. I mean, you got everybody traveling now. You got basketball traveling, football traveling, baseball, and everybody that's trying to give you some pointers. And then you go say, oh, man, nobody looking at me. It's the coach's fault. Nah, not this time. Not this time, bro.
You know, Troy, that's a great point that you just made, man. I mean, remember when 7-on-7 was just a little joke? With
yeah.
And now it's a real thing. I think they're offering people, and stars are being given to certain players without pads for 7-on-7.
Until they put on a pad.
You have to pay so much money to go with that or whatever.
Right. 7-on-7, like you said, used to be just the shirts and skins. I'm shirts, you skins, and y'all go out there and play two-hand touch. And now it's a whole people getting scholarships off of that.
And then they wonder why they suck when they get to a school. Like, how was he ranked a 4th star? Oh, well, you put pads on and you have to hit, actually. So there we go.
Yeah.
Not to be a jerk, but seriously. So.
I mean, but that's but BT, did I ask your question though? Did I ask your question to see the difference between the two of them?
Yeah.
Because I was playing back then when we was playing with Wilson. You just knew to go out there and play. It wasn't like I said, you learn if you do your play 5 steps up as a defensive end, don't let nobody go outside of you. That's it. You're a robot. No one taught you to finesse about moving forward. So with Rodgers, what used to piss me off then, we had those wristbands. We went from players on the wristband, right? Looking to the sideline compared to being in the huddle.
Yeah.
That was a new change back then. Look, y'all talk about the wing T being terrible, but dude, if you run it right, Anderson County should run wing T all the time. Halls ran wing T all the time.
Catholic
if you run it correctly,
ran the wing T. Catholic and Webb did back in the day.
Okay, yeah. So if you run the wing T well, it can't be stopped. You just run all over the place.
Yeah. And look what Cummings did. Cummings took a variation of that and made the pistol veer. And Nathan Cottrell and all of them almost went back to back in 13 and 14 with that. So,
I tell you what was cool, man, when West when they went to the state and I seen some old Terry Maples and Stephen Harmon and I think even Michael. Y'all remember Michael McKnight?
Yeah.
Michael Knight. If you don't remember, Michael Knight. Yeah,
Michael Knight. Yeah.
Big lineman. He was there, I think.
I was
Mark
next
Love.
to you, Troy. I was next to you that game.
You was there. You was there too. But God,
I was on your other side because wasn't your wife with you at the time?
Yes, she was. Yeah.
So it was me and my dad to your right. Terry was there as well, and so forth.
Yeah.
We all sat together because of that.
But so to see all them people there though was so cool. We were looking around at each other like, man, look how far. We're in a whole different lifestyle now. Different places. And just seeing that was pretty cool to reunite on that stuff. So that was cool.
Coldest
so now,
rainy night to lose.
Yeah, it was cold, boy. It was
heartbreaking.
cold.
I still think we left one on the field there. We should have 4 ships, but that's.
I give you a props though, James. I'm gonna be honest with you. Can I be 1,000 with you?
Absolutely.
I was like, this boy won't let the high school go, Willie. This is what I said at first. This at first. But what you're doing though, like you're actually involved with the program.
Yep.
That's huge. There's people. When you're not used to winning, you don't know how it looks. So there's schools that travel around, high schools, Texas, stuff like that, Florida. They teams are they're all over the place. They got people that's the team for the county or the city. So that's when I learned a little bit different. And then y'all doing this show right here, I got to give all props to you. That's why I went and binged that night and looking at all your shows, because I'm like, man, these dudes got something.
Yeah. Well, and if I can talk candidly, man, look, I'm just going to be real. I'm going to be real. I got kicked out of Bearden. Okay. I wasn't the good, wholesome kid everybody thought. I messed up. Okay,
I thought you was born under a pew, man.
Well, I mean, I am Catholic, but I also was a Miami fan, so I'm a convict too. So
and you're an Italian. That's a whole nother
anyway, got to throw the old you back in the day. But realistically, Jimmy Thacker, who was a guy that played at football at Austin East, coached at Austin East, and he was downtown at the AJ building. He gave me a second chance. He got with Ken Green, who was the principal at West at the time, and they said, this is your one chance to right your ship. And I took that challenge. I did not want to let these men down. These were two African-American men. They gave this white boy a second chance. A half Spaniard, half white guy. Okay, I got the last name Freeman, but I could have been Villarini, Maristani, and Catalano. Spanish was my first language. But the truth of the matter is West gave me a second chance, and I never forget that second chance. And if I can give back to the school that gave me that second chance, that makes me a rebel with a cause. That makes you and I want to talk about what you're doing after the stage and after TSU. I want to talk to you about that in a second. But that's why I do what I do. Being there on a Friday night, I can forget about the worst day at work that I had. I can be there and converse with Coach Lindsay, Coach Gahn, my buddy Chris Smith, who does the stats with me, Carrie, who watches this show, who does the scoreboard. We really are a staff, even though we're not coaches on the field. And they gave us these. And I'm going to get another one in April to go here with this last one. But the fact is, I wear this with pride every day to show I am a rebel with a cause. And I want all these kids, no matter what sport they played then, now, whatever in the future, that it don't stop when you walk across that stage and when the game stops at 0. You continue to be a rebel with a cause and contribute something to this beautiful life that not many of us get to even get a few years, let alone a full 80 or 90 or whatever the life expectancy is now. We have lost brothers from those teams that we were talking about just a few minutes ago, and it hurts my heart to anything. I lost friends to ODs, kid that had leukemia that didn't even get 14 years. And I thank God every day for the opportunity to just breathe this air and give love to anybody that wants to love me back, honestly.
Well, man, that was fun. So, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. And that boy dropped the mic, didn't he? God dang.
I have a little bit of skill. I'm not as good as that guy next to me, but I got a little bit of skill.
We ain't gonna go. Hey, man, I appreciate you sharing that story, man. Everybody has a story to tell, and that was awesome. I mean, nobody would ever know that unless you say something.
And I've kept it secret, but you do have a point. A lot of people have said it's high school. What do you care? And it's like, well, there's a story back there, and I wanted to share that with the audience because I'm just going to be real, and so forth like that. I never pretended to be a choir boy, but I'll tell you one thing: I never did get in trouble that second chance. I wasn't even in the principal's office at all.
Nice.
I mean, and some people ask me, why'd you walk away from that one fight? I said, yeah, I threw that one punch. I'm at Walker Academy. Nobody remembers Walker Academy, but I do. So yeah. Anyway.
I mean, everybody has a story, dog, and you sharing that with, man. That was deep. And I'll tell you who else got a story. Brian Tate has a freaking story.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Presswick. He done moved up to Presswick when he moved up. He moved out the projects from College Home, went up to Presswick. You know what I'm saying? Right across the street from West. I mean, BT, his family situation this dude is a star in that family, man. So, hey, I hope you understand, BT. Everything you've done is for a purpose.
Yeah,
I don't want you ever to think that you are not making a difference out. Everyone know who Brian Tate is. Yeah. For real. In regards to The Voice, in regards to UT, in regards to that radio station, I was so proud when you said that post. You said that Eric Sermon hit you up and said, "Thank you for playing my music." Yeah, that's huge, right, man. But this dude come, and then I'll go back and look at yearbooks. I didn't know he was Mr. West at one time. This dude was that guy. You know what I'm saying? And But this the genuine thing about BT that I know of. I don't know how he is outside of, I ain't been in Knoxville about 20 something years, but he did things not even knowing what he was doing. Like he didn't do it to be cocky.
No.
He did it to bring love. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loved being around BT.
Yep.
I remember when he used to be coming around like a little brother, like, man, dude, man, come on, man, watch out, dog, watch out. You watch out, man, come on, dog. And he used to be around like, I just want to be around, man. And when he did that song called The Bible, and everybody thought it was about Christian stuff, but it wasn't that. It just talked about the basic instructions before leaving Earth. Like BT always been on that whole outcast type. What are you talking about?
That's amazing.
But he always been like that, man. So
talented.
what he's doing, out here in this community, what he's doing, period, in general, man, hats off, as you would say, salute to you. You know what I'm saying? And James, man, thanks for sharing that story, dog. Nobody would ever known that.
Yeah. It
stereotype.
It took me 25 years to tell that story, and I chose tonight to tell it. But I want to use it as a segue.
Now, is that me or y'all?
You do so much, man, and I'm so, like you talked about Brandon acting. I mean, there's so many of us. Everybody likes to focus on the negative stuff. Oh, this guy went to jail, or this. It's like no, we don't need to talk about that. What I want to talk about is everybody is contributing something. Some have had hard lives. Some have made poor choices. But, I want you to talk about and tell the audience, look what you've done, like what you continue to do on a daily basis. Talk to the crowd of what happened after TSU and you walked across the stage and graduated a Rebel.
Can y'all hear me good? I don't know if my screen freezing, if it's y'all, I don't know. But when it come down to it, I didn't think I'll be doing what I do today. I didn't think I walk across the stage to be undergrad. I didn't think I walk across the stage to get a master's. And I definitely didn't think I'll be somebody's doctor. You follow what I'm saying? Like I'm in a process of getting my doctoral degree in business administration. Can you hear me?
We've got two doctors now, Tupper. If Mike Morrow finishes his and Troy finishes his, they're both going to be doctors. Dr. Troy Smith.
Dr. Troy Smith.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's
dude.
That's a good sound to it.
Yes.
But and then writing a book, bro. I mean,
there you go.
That me writing a book. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect, man. I think it might be on your end. You come across great from us.
Okay, well, but me writing a book, y'all go to TroyMSmith.com, man. TroyMSmith.com. Me writing a book, coming from the Ville, coming from every project you can think of in Knoxville. Vestal, Austin Homes, Mechanicsville, Christianbury, College Hills. I mean, all these projects you can think about, I was a product of that. Coming up in the time wearing blue and red wasn't what you want to do.
No.
Even to this day, I can't wear red because it's been drilled in me for so long to wear only blue. I can't wear red. I can't be slobbing. I understand. So just coming up in that, man. So to be doing, to be married, to be doing at one time I doing ministry stuff, to being on boards at schools, starting charter schools, and being on the board of the Chamber of Commerce type stuff, being a senior vice president at a bank. Y'all remember Aaron Kyle? I've heard that name before. AK, crooked jumper. That boy got a crooked jumper.
I was in his wedding.
Oh, well, look, so Aaron Kyle, I used to cheat off his economics test in Coach Lindsay's class. In Coach Lindsay's class? I used to cheat off his econ stuff. Oh, I hope we didn't lose him. I think he's frozen. There he is. Yeah, right. But I used to cheat off his econ stuff, man, and for me to be in the investments and the mortgage lending and all that stuff is incredible. So that's awesome, man. And like you said to start off, you never pictured that being 17 on the couch or what have you like that. No. I just knew my mama told me to go to school and making the right decisions end up panning out to be the right thing. Yeah. Being a part of BT, remember being a part of Young Life and all that stuff. And doing that, just happen to be doing things and just happen to be the right thing. Me deciding not to go do something with some other folks ended up being the best thing for me
when they got in trouble. I
Mm.
mean, and it's so easy being from where BT and I are from, and even you probably, James, to make the wrong decision one time and it's over.
It's over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so thankfully I was able to make some right decisions to end up panning out. Boys and Girls Club, all that type. Teen Center, you know, when we used to be joked about, are you going to the Teen Center? Oh, man. That was the best thing that could happen for me. I stayed out of trouble.
I stayed out of trouble. Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is. And that's what I implore these guys that, you know, talk about this team that just went, you know, back to back, 29-1 in the last 30 games. You got, you know, Ryan Scott, who came up to me, shout out to him yesterday and gave me a high five and so forth at the game. I mean, he's walking on to Tennessee as a preferred walk-on, and he was working out hard in the weight room yesterday. He was telling me how tired he was. I said, I know, bro, but you working for something, and you're going to put your name out there. You're going to play at the University of Tennessee.
Hey,
you know
if you're from Knoxville, dog, and you own that Neyland Stadium field.
Yes.
Hey, dog, you made it. You know, if I would have played at UT, it was over with.
Yeah, and you talk about a dude that worked hard. And I can't sing his praises enough. And to watch him on the field, it was like having another coach or a quarterback for the defense, getting everybody lined up. Everybody listened to him. And I'm going to miss the hell out of that kid. But I challenge the linebackers behind him to pick up that mantra. You can do it too, honestly. It's about how much hard work you put into it. But, you know, you talk about these guys. I just want them to not give up, even if you have the hardest practice and you want to quit, because not all of us get that opportunity to play college ball. That's the thing. I mean, you know, and it's like, don't make those wrong decisions. You know, get in that bad car wreck that has ruined so many guys' lives, you know, or ended them, for goodness sakes, you know, and it's like, just, you know, you are your own driver of your bus. And don't let anybody ruin it, literally.
Hey, before we come to a close, for me anyway, I gotta get ready to hop off in a second. But I want you to, one thing, tell me, where did the Marble City thing come from? I never knew that.
Really?
Never.
I knew about it when I was a freshman or a sophomore. They always called it Marble City. Because
never knew. Tell me about it.
I knew it was Marble City because it was a church called Marble City Baptist or something like that.
Yeah, and there's a couple of places that are like called like Marble City Interior that are actually in that limit. And there's even like a sign that I took a picture of. If you look at all my state championship stuff, like I took pictures of Marble City and everything like that. And it's just it kind of stands out. It's not anything big. And I'll tell you this, I'm working on a book right now that I'm hoping to get published this year on Amazon, and I'll announce more about that I've been working on for a few years. But I renamed Knoxville Marble City and made the town like that. Everything's out of marble and everything like that, and kind of thing. So that's kind of like a homage shout out to it. But yeah, like and it's really gone with it. They've made shirts. They've really branded it of where the school's located now. 3300 Sutherland Avenue. That's like a big thing on the shirts, you know. And I mean, and then Troy, when was the last time? I know you haven't been to Knoxville lately, but dude, you have got to come to a game at the stadium, and it's completely different now. Big screen. I mean, I try to take pictures of it. It is immaculate.
I don't think they know how good they got it though.
Oh, they don't. They don't.
One thing I remember when we first got that weight room, our own. Remember, y'all may not know. Y'all might be too young for this, but at one time our weight room was under. You know, we had the gym, the little small gym.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little room next to the small gym.
Yeah,
there was a weight room. It was just,
the AG.
Yeah, the
AG building. In the AG building, right?
Yeah. It's a little small. It was a little small weight room, couple of benches. That was it. So when we actually had the solo gym, the solo weight room, we was big stuff.
Yeah, and now they've got their own. Now they've got their own weight room and field house. And Troy, I don't know if you probably heard it from the last show or a couple shows ago that I mentioned it. We have only 105 lockers. When Coach Cummings eradicated that building and got a bunch of donors to join in the Rebel Booster Club, they built that for a locker room in hopes that he could have 105 guys dressed out. Now, without even talking about people that might transfer in, they have right now, even with losing 21 seniors from this group, 146 guys signed up for football for 9th and 12th grade next year,
Wow.
which means you have 40 or so extra spots. The freshmen are going to have to go to our old locker room, which is basically the men's soccer team locker room. That old field house is now belongs to soccer and everything, and they might have to go on ahead and expand it and raise some money and so forth. But the fact that you have 150 kids you could technically dress out, not all of them going to play, obviously, but it just shows what this program has become.
And now I heard they don't use the practice field down at the bottom no more?
Nope, that's now softball. Softball finally got their own stadium. They don't have to go to McGee Tyson Park anymore.
Wow, man.
Magic
It's
Field.
a gorgeous facility. I mean, they even have a whole new gate entrance to enter to the baseball, softball, or football, as opposed to the old one. The old one is now just a wheelchair access for handicapped people and so forth.
Wow.
Old one that
I look forward to going to a game to see it, and I want to be getting some good seats in that thing, man.
Hey,
you know
listen, I'm gonna get you in there. I'll get you in there. Trust me. So,
are the tickets still $5?
Actually, it's $8 now.
Oh, okay. There it
It's
is.
$8,
Okay.
but I might get you on a guest pass or something. So, yeah, for sure.
I might come in and give a couple extra dollars anyway. I might just come in so I give me some nachos, my family sit down, have a good little time. But man, I'm loving it. I seen them in the stadium. I mean, the seats, the student section. They got a student section.
Yes. Yeah. The Rebel Rowdies.
Yeah. I mean, just crazy, dog. I mean, I don't think they know how nice they really. I actually, when Coach Wilson was there my 10th grade year before I go, we laid new grass down on that field. Mm-hmm. We actually took the old grass up and laid new grass down. You know what I'm saying? And then so they now have like all the
artificial turf. That grass lasted till 2016, just to let you know. So 2017. Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible to see you, man. But what y'all got left before we dip out here, man? I appreciate y'all, dog.
Oh, man. Listen, I can't thank you for taking the time, brother. And I want to have you on again for that, that panel, because there are so many guys. And last question. Your best game, favorite game as a Rebel player, which one was it? That was my one.
Well, I got two of them. I mean, and I got three actually. So my best game as an offensive player when I had, y'all mentioned Doug Madison one time. But Doug Madison at one time, he played the running back and I played fullback where I got the ball a lot more. I had I was in the paper that time. We played against Fulton, Fred Smith and them. I had like over 50-something yards and they had me in the paper. That's my fun time. Then that game that BT was talking about against Salvador, my 10th grade year, balled out when it come down to all them tackles on that one. And then the best game I had that was hard fought was against Maryville when I had some good blocks on that defensive end you was talking about. So, so it's interesting that y'all mentioned those games. Those two games. That was my time. I really enjoyed some things. I mean, that was my best. My 11th grade year was my best year. Period. I was in my best size. I was in my best mental space in regards to being a player, and I had a lot of favor coming into the season with that. And then I worked at Funscape. Y'all probably don't remember Funscape.
Dude, hey, Troy, we should have just a show about Funscape. Nobody remembers that anymore. All the rides and everything. I think
that and then CJ being in the movie theater. Y'all remember? I remember CJ the picture man now, but he was in the movie theater. He held it down the movies. I made so much money working at Funscape, dog. I mean, people used to come through us. Hey, man, you get on the ride all you want. Give me $10. I mean, I was making some money on the side at Funscape. Wasn't right.
Hey,
it wasn't right.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this, man. I still don't understand why that flopped, because it was so hyped when it was coming and everything, and it was like gone in 2 years. I mean, what the hell? I mean, it's still there as Cinnabar and a couple of video games, but it ain't nothing like what it was.
Oh no, but it was new. Dude, you had the Rocky moving chairs with the 3D thing going. You had bumper cars going on. I mean, that was new. Had a little rides and everything. It was pretty incredible.
Yes, the Pescadero gun shooting game ride or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't there like a place that you could like pop each other with bubbles or balloons?
Yeah. No, with balls. They had the little gun ball.
The little gun ball.
Shoot people with balls.
Yeah.
So we had a good time, man. But y'all got something else before I go though, man? I mean, anything. Anything.
Man, it's just great to have you, Troy.
It really was, Troy.
Reminiscing with you. I just want to say this, man. Let them know why I was not on Captain T's Knoxville back.
I don't remember. That thing came along so quick. It was done. You know what I'm saying? But I did try to get you on the next stuff, and then I left. So
Yeah.
But man, we had a good time. Hey, I loved high school, dog. I loved high school. I know a lot of people probably didn't like high school. I didn't know how popular I was in high school until I left. I mean, I didn't know it at all. I mean, man, I didn't know how important if you was a homecoming king and all other stuff. I didn't know that. I didn't. I got most funniest and all that stuff. I just had a good time in school, man. Huh?
You the man. You the man, definitely.
I mean, we had a good time, man. Had a lunchroom rocking playing. We don't love them.
Yeah, I
Troy,
love them. I had fun.
All that.
I'm gonna tell you this, Troy. You always made me laugh. Like honestly, like even if you weren't talking to me or you were talking to somebody else, just hearing you laugh and so forth was infectious, and it made me laugh. It could always turn like my day great, But one thing I did want to ask you real quick, man, because he ain't here, to talk or what have you. But can you share a couple of memories of the great Tim Thomas, honestly, man? Because, you guys had a couple of, clashes in practice when you go up against each other in them Oklahoma drills. So can you just talk about Tim? Because a lot of people never got affected by how great he was and funny he was too.
Tim was and I talked to his mom about this when he passed too. And we had a good laugh about it, but Tim was code switching before it was code switching. You understand what I'm telling you? Tim can be with the black guys and be all black. And Tim can be old prep just like that. And talk to the white dudes like, what just happened here? He was code switch before code switching.
That's perfect.
But when it come down to it, Tim and I, we called ourselves the Long Shot Brothers back then. And we just had a good time, man. Tim and I played football with each other in super midgets, which you can't even say midgets no more, but we played super midgets together. And then we went to high school with each other. And Tim was from the east side of town. So y'all probably didn't even know he lived on the east side.
Yeah.
He was over there in the black neighborhood. And he fit so well into the white culture at West High School back then. You wouldn't have never known that. But I did know that Tim just wanted to make sure he was loved, man. And I wish he was here to know how much he was appreciated and loved. Tim he went through a lot, dog. He went through a lot. And the fact that to see that he still get talked about in a positive way, in a good light, that's huge, man. And we had a good time, man. We had a lot of laughing times, a lot of falling off the boat together. So go back to that boat thing. When I fell off the boat, because the reason why I could swim, but like you said, there's nothing like rocks and everything else when you going through Coe River, whatever that is, Coe Lake, River, whatever.
Coe River, yeah.
Well, I'm laughing at people, laughing at everybody falling off the boat. I'm Tom Foster. You know Thomas Foster?
Yeah.
Thomas Foster.
Yeah, Big T Foster, yeah.
Yeah, this one he was fat. So he fell off the boat. I'm laughing at him. I'm laughing at Justin. I'm laughing at everybody just falling off. Like, look at y'all can't swim. Because they said it before, they can't swim. So they just looking like just sad.
They're holding on to their life preservers like this, honestly.
Right. So the guys say, when I say hit the deck, hit the deck. That means you get in the middle and curl up, to sit in the middle. But we got on this rock and we got stuck.
Yeah. And
I said, man, we got to flip over. And I flipped over into the water. Everybody else can get up quick. I'm bigger than everybody else. So I couldn't get up as fast. You know what I'm saying? And then they said, hit the deck again. And all of a sudden, we went from the calm water to the fast, rapid waters again. And that's when I thought my life was over, dog. I mean, I ain't never, can they tell you to go feet first, turn around and go feet first. Mm-hmm. And my shorts, because I had on, I had no shirt on. We just had on shorts and other stuff. Thank God I had on some drawers. Like I'm thankful I wasn't free balling.
That's all that he had on left because the shorts were gone.
It was gone, dog. Everything. And then I lost my paddle.
Yeah, because we all had a paddle too.
And and I don't know if the guy nowadays was joking, but he said, okay, now you don't have a paddle. You have to bend over in front of everybody on the front of the boat. And my butt was at everybody's face. I'm just holding on to the boat, just going on the boat like that when just draws on. And that was the most embarrassing time of my whole life, dog, because I lost my pants I lost them. I was pulling for them. I said, oh, my pants about to come off. And I almost lost my drawers. And thank God I lost just the shorts. And yeah, man, that was incredible. And then so we got out the river and we got on get ready to get back on the bus. It was a bus full of, like, I don't know if it's track girls or something. So I was on straight little man at that time. You know what I'm saying? You had to cover my boy up and just walk onto the boat, into the bus. because
I mean, it really was. Let me say that
it was
a fun
bad,
camp.
dog. It was bad.
That was a fun camp. Honestly, it really
That was a fun camp.
And you remember we had the Olympic competition or something because of the what was it like seniors, juniors, sophomores, and we all competed in like horseshoes and
everything, dog. I mean, but I think we was doing 3-a-days then too, right?
We were.
That was the last time I think we did 3-a-day.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They did 3-a-days, and then there was dawn patrol. If you didn't come to the workouts in the mornings or the summer and so forth, that sucked. I didn't luckily have to do that, but a lot of the people that I was rooming with in that little bunk thing had to get up and go do dawn patrol, so that sucked. So
I did dog patrol.
Yeah, but we had 3 days.
Yeah. So yeah.
And then, hey, BT, the last thing running them with Coach not Lindsay, but the other one, Petco, or that's his name? Petco?
Yep.
Doing them 33s. You remember 33s?
I hated them. I hated 33s. I hated them.
Morning practice at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning doing 33s, boy. That was made a man out of you then, boy.
But that did. That actually got me to love the game a little bit more because I could see where it was going, but I just knew I was going to do something different. And I just wanted to still announce the game if I wasn't playing the game and just looking at what other people were doing in the sports realm and seeing I could make an impact. And it's kids today still come up to me and like, you gave me my first nickname on the court. And,
dude, you was made for that, dog. You was born to be on the mic. Like, whether you rapping, I don't know if y'all know BT, the best freestyler in ever besides my brother.
That's what I tried to say. He did Kid and Play a run for his money in house parties.
Besides my brother, Young Smith, aka Little Bit or whatever else he called
Reggie. Nice though, Reggie.
So, but besides my brother, BT was the coldest. He's the coldest freestyler at the drop of a hat. Period, hands down.
Oh, real quick, Terry Maples, shout out to him. He said Big Troy used to keep the track bus trips alive, as you know, and Coach Roberts damn near died.
Oh, hey, I don't know if y'all remember this. You probably was. I think you was playing at that time too, James. But I remember Coach. Sadat was the best hype man in life.
Yes,
that was the best. I never knew what it was like to get hyped before a game to Sadat. Yeah. But he used to say, "Who run this here?" Not you remember this?
Yes. Tell me.
He used to say, "Who run this here?" And we say, "We run this here." Who run this? Coach Rogers one day decided that he wanted to hype us, break us down or whatever. And he said, "Who runs this hill?"
Yeah.
Who runs this hill? And we all looked at each other like, "Who runs this hill?" He said, "It's hill, right? Who runs this hill?" Like, no, bro. Who runs this hill?
Hill.
Like here.
HERE.
Yeah. So that was a classic time. Anybody was around for that? That was classic, boy. Coach, who runs this hill?
Who runs this?
Who runs this hill? Yeah.
What hill are we talking about? Togler or what? So
yeah, he way off, man. But I appreciate y'all, dog, man.
Brother,
and
thank you so much.
I hope we had a good time. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. I enjoyed myself.
You bet. And spread the love, man. Spread the word to other people. If they want to be on the show, they can hit us up. We don't bite hard. I mean that. So that's the thing.
Y'all need to get now. I mean, please, James, don't stop. BT,
I promise.
Don't stop. Because I really believe y'all have something. This is something nice. You know what I'm saying? And they bringing folk back. I got old folks. You want to bring them on here now. They may not be more as entertaining. But I got old folks that get on.
Oh yeah.
That played back with Coach Wilson back in the day in the 80s.
You know what? I'm down. I'm down. I want to know so much about the school that gave me back, and that's why I research this stuff. Thank you so much for giving me the props of all the stats and everything I bring. I am accurate. I don't, and if I'm wrong, I will make corrections. Like, I'm sorry, I misrepresented. So yeah.
And BT, the best hype man on the show, you're gonna get. I mean, he made me feel good. Like, God, did I do? I hope he's telling. Even if he's not telling the truth, I appreciate it. You know what I'm
saying? We know our stuff.
No, let me. Before he goes, I got this last one. In speech class, in Coach Ash's class.
Oh God. I ain't gotta say, but oh God. Yeah.
Do you remember we used to make fun of dude on the Real World, Sweet Davo Dino?
Oh yeah, hey, that's man. We had dude. High school, I enjoyed, man. I'm not one to be like, I hate it. I enjoyed high school, dog.
I loved high school.
Yeah,
You made high school, man.
You were one of them.
Me and Jeremy Pagin say that all the
oh
time.
my boy, hey.
That's
Don't
another.
think now. It's
I got stuck out there in Vegas with him, and we called Troy. Was the first person we called.
He called me on the day I was hurting though. I ain't had no bread, no. I was hurt, but the
You guys have
fact
name
is,
dropped tonight of names that I forgot about, and it's like I got it like right there. I can picture the face. So
I remember talking to Jeremy Pagis back in the day. He probably would tell you, but I was. Y'all, this is not a show to talk. I'm trying to keep it educated.
Oh
but,
no, we know. We
but I was out the. I used to tell him.
You helped us out.
Yeah, you know about it. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? I told him, man, quit worrying about them girls, man, and just go get you a videotape, get you a tape, and I leave it alone like that.
I too.
So because hey man, I was just trying to teach my young boys, man, stay out of trouble, man. Don't get
you kept us all out of trouble.
The reason why that happened, though, BT, because I had a pregnancy scare. So when I had a pregnancy scare of out here on these streets up here slanging, going raw like that, I was like, man, I can't be doing that, man. I ain't trying no baby in high school. So that's why I was talking about what I was talking about. Like, man, hey, man, bruh. You know, that's when y'all was probably young virgin boys or something.
You saved us. You saved us from baby mamas.
Yeah, all that.
You look. We got a house now, boss. We doing all right, boss.
You do what you want now. You grown. You do what you want. Go do what you think. All right, then, man. Italian Stallion. I like when you do that little thing like that. That little.
So that, I can go southpaw or the other way too. So
yeah. So
he
man,
y'all
keep
ring
doing
dog. That's what he be doing.
Yeah, he gonna have two.
Hey man, be flashing that ring hard. Be like,
yeah.
Let me tell you something, I'm gonna be flashing that other one too, and I hope I can do 3. You know, because I always love. I want that 3-peat. I really want that 3-peat.
Look how big that ring is. I remember back in the day, them rings were a little bitty. That's
look at that thing.
Lord, you hadn't seen nothing yet. When the new one comes, it's gonna make this thing look like a little kid. Honestly, when you see the new one. The new one is unbelievable.
Mortgage on his hand, man. That thing is. I remember we were playing Bearden and we swept him and he was flashing that motherfucking ring.
He just doing this all day, like,
and I was throwing up the W like everything and dancing. That was the best game. You and me, we were dancing, singing. All we do is win. DJ Khaled.
Hey, what's that picture behind you though, Jane? Who is that? What team is that?
That is the 2012 West Rebels men's basketball team. Are you ready for this? The only boys basketball team to win the region tournament ever at West. Only one. And so I'm hoping that, our boys can get it together because they had a rough district tournament. Should have done better, but they didn't. But they have an opportunity the hard way, if they can win against Oak Ridge, Bearden, and Maryville potentially, to be the second team to join them dudes behind me. So that was a little motivation there. So.
And BT, tell the bird I said what's up, man.
Man, I will, man. She asks about you all the time, man. You and Jeremy. She asks about you and Jeremy more than any of my friends, man. Like, straight up.
Well, hey, man, your mama held it down for us, man. There's been plenty of time that came over to the crib, So, and Jason Day was up there too. Forget about Jason Day.
Jason,
and who's a chef now.
A chef.
Yeah, he's down in Georgia, Atlanta, right?
So y'all need to get Jason Day on now. That was one big dude that can play quarterback. If we was doing like that dude in Kentucky, remember that guy? Kentucky
Jared Lorenzen. Yeah, Jared Lorenzen. He was. Yeah.
Hey, Jason Day used to have an arm on him, dog. And he was the black white dude before black white dudes was, what I'm saying?
Mike Morrow is too. Mike
Morrow was on that too.
So I remember I'm so glad you had an old picture of Mike in the background. Cause I was trying to, we're getting older now. But I remember who he was when I seen that picture. I said, oh yeah, I remember that guy.
And if you saw him walk into the Winsong movie theater before he put on that little stupid uniform they made us wear, he'd come in with a back hatwards, like hat backwards, and then the pants sagging, and he would have to go change in the projection booth before he did it. And even he wore his
He used to be sagging in them Jinko jeans, man.
Jinko jeans. Yeah, he was wearing them Jinkos. So yeah.
And Terry Maples, I see what he posts. I owe him some Pop-Tarts. Let me tell you, man. See, I got along with all my teammates, man. And Terry Maples, man, I done spent plenty of time at his house. His mom used to hook us up with some good meals. His stepdaddy at the time used to be fixing my car, put my system in the car. Terry, he played me one time. I didn't know how valuable my cards were, and he probably remember this. He bought a lot of my game, them cards back in the day, the tops and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he bought me. I didn't know the value I had in my pocket, but he bought them off of me for $200. Them things probably worth thousands now. So, I had some Barry Sanders rookie cards. I had a whole lot of cards, man. And he said, "I'll buy them from you for $200." Shoot, give it to me, $200. You got it.
Hey, Terry, do you still have them? If he's on, Terry, you still have them cards, or did you get rid of them?
He probably don't. He probably sold them or something. If he got them, I'll buy them back for $250 right now. If he still got them, if he got them cards on them, I'll buy them back right now for $250.
Hey, real quick, Michael would say Rebel After Dark, get started and laugh out loud. That's great. That's I love that guy. I love
Michael Lynn. Michael Lynn's daddy, whose name is Michael Lynn, is too. Michael Lynn as well. Michael Lynn, mama, rest her soul, his sister, man, Michael Lynn is my guy. Like, we go back from 8 years old. Alton Thomas, 8 years old. We go back from back in the day. So it's good to be able to see us still. Troy Maps, we grew up together. So, from Maynard to Bearden Middle School to West High School. Salute to all y'all, man. I'm proud of everybody, dog.
Hey, I'm proud of you too. Hey, real quick, I know you got to get going. I just want to give his response back. He says his kid has them now, but he'll probably sell them back to you for $250 and a box of cherry Pop-Tarts.
Yeah. I don't even want them now. His son got them. They probably bent up, tore up, and everything.
Now his son got them in the plastic. They all
he got a nice notebook.
Oh, now if we still see back in the day, boy, if you got that card sharp in the plastic thing, boy, that thing was on point, boy. You got some bread. Y'all don't even remember East Bay, do you? You don't remember East Bay?
Yeah, it went away. East Bay shut down last year. Yeah.
Yeah, boy. East Bay looking at that. Looking at the going to Just for Feet playing basketball. Boy, hey, y'all see that's why
I remember Just for Feet in the basketball court and all that.
Yeah, man. That's man. All right, dog. I will be here all day. But y'all keep it going, dog.
Again, brother.
Thank you, Troy, man. We appreciate you.
Holla.
Man, definitely truly one of the more like remarkable dudes like to come through West. Like we man, I ain't gonna lie, I think they have it so good now.
They do.
That it makes me appreciate like going in the hallway and seeing you having on a Miami jersey.
You remember that Dan Morgan? Man.
I was like, damn, this man got a Dan Morgan jersey. Because I had a Peter Warwick jersey.
Yeah.
And I used to wear that thing religiously through the hall.
You did. You know what the thing is and out there, I see these kids, I say, hey, and it was so nice of Ryan Scott to come up to me and give me a high five and so forth. I love that kid. I love all these kids.
Yeah.
They're little brother. If we're the old uncles, and so forth. They're our nephews and nieces and everything now. But it's all but love. It's nothing but love. And I know their potential, and they can be better than us. That and it's tough love. It's tough love. It's not trying to be from a place of hate or anything. I know what you guys can do. You just got to unlock it and believe it yourself, because you're better than what you are. That the 146 that are signed up. Get another one of these, man. I want a whole trophy case of stuff. I want so many banners. We have to build the building even bigger anyway to stretch it out, man, without moving stuff over. You walk into the Dean Dome or Cameron Indoor Stadium in basketball, they got all them banners hung up and so forth like that. Jerseys retired. I want that for us, man.
Yeah,
I want that for us.
We definitely do, man. And I think they understand, because they got a lot better than what we had in the early 2000s, and we just look at so far of what it looks like to win, and winning cures a lot. And for this basketball team, I think that this junior class, they'll have to learn it the hard way if they are expecting to make a run. But next year is it.
That's it.
Is it. Because my hopes were this could be the prelude to what the football team has done. And you would think that the winning would affect that from what they were on the ball field to translate for the Jack, you got Jack Keefe. You got rings.
Yeah, you got Hunter Dance, the quarterback coming over. The fact that the football team comes to all the games. Ryan Scott was there last night. A few other guys they go every game to support their brothers. And two different sports, but we're brothers. We're all one West. It's like, man, and I know they come to the games and support us too in football, but it's like, man, you guys can be great in any sport and run this here, not the hill, but run this here. I mean, so.
They got to take. They need to take full advantage of what they have. That's really what it boils down to. And last thing, do what got you there. Do what got you there. When you got sophomores that aren't playing, I just don't understand it. Like Robert Schuler need to be seeing that court more. You need to get these freshmen in the games more. Yeah. Your future is going to be a Dave Sanders, a Dane Clark, a Robert Schuler, a Kalu Fofana, who I think is going to be tremendous running the point guard spot once Jalen,
he'd be the heir apparent, or find a way to get them both on the court. I mean, just be creative with the lineups and run them off the court. I mean, my goodness, you have so much athleticism and so much just ball skills, the way you guys handle the ball and so forth. You should never turn the ball over. You should never. They shouldn't even be able to touch you, honestly. So
I really think having Garrett G. Birch hurt is.
I think that is going to be the cherry on the top of this what if season. So Two Pair. Before we do run, there is a couple things I did promise to get to the football because I did promise some football. It won't be very long. Just a couple of quick things.
We got our last hire.
Yeah, we did. A huge hire. And let me tell you this. Let me just tell you this. It got real. It got real.
It got really real.
To bring back the guy that brought you that last championship and knows how to win at different schools, and the fact that I bet you, because little birdie, I don't know for sure, the reason he didn't get the Central job was because they already had an athletic director in place. He wanted not only to be coach, but also athletic director. And that's why I think Austin East played ball and hired Stanton Stevens back. Stanton Stevens can get boys to buy in and keep them home at Austin East. So it's about to be really, really, no pun intended, the wild, wild west when it comes to who goes where in terms of the schools. You might not have kids going to West and Powell anymore. They might be going back to Austin East with someone like Stanton Stevens or someone of that nature. I mean, I'm just saying. So that being said, I wish him the best, honestly, because like I said, things are fun when Fulton and Austin East are competitive in football and so forth, and gives West a challenge. We don't even schedule them teams anymore because it's done. It's not a competition. Alcoa, Maryville, playing Anderson County. Those are now the teams that give West ready for when we play whatever's waiting for us on the other side of the state.
And then just when you look at those Stanton Stevens teams, they had the Brian Blairs, the Stephen Bookers, the Mark Andrews, the Lee.
Jeff Anderson played for him back then, I believe. So yeah.
Marsh, Aaron Anderson, just like a plethora of guys that he had. Corey Kennebrew, like Big Bo. He had some guys. Gentry Fulton. He had some guys on that state championship team that were, vital to them. Rocky Johnson at running back, who, had he not tore his ACL his junior year, when they won. But I'm just looking at the guys that he had on that state championship team were some of the best athletes I had ever seen.
I
I,
mean, it was unreal. I mean, and those games against Fulton and Austin East were must see TV, and so forth like that.
County, that was some great games too.
Yeah. So if anybody can get him back, he knows, and like I said, he can get people interested again and get that lower level youth back in play and so forth. You keep an eye on them. I mean, it's not going to be overnight because it has been in the dumps. But if anybody can bring it back, it's the OG. It's definitely him that can do it when it was last great
Absolutely.
from when we remember it 20 years ago, where
Mhm.
people would be afraid. They saw that Roadrunner uniform. It's like we getting about to be road runned out 50-0 or something like
Mhm.
would be over.
I
So,
mean, think about the talent he had in those days. I mean, the Albert Harrises, the Anthony McAllisters. You know what
oh God, that's a name from the past.
I mean? Ooh, one of the best linebackers I've ever seen.
Yes. Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
that's what I'm saying. Like, we appreciate the history and the guys and the dudes that played. And, the thing is this, it's like, you know what? You should have never forgotten you were once a badass, you know what I mean? And so forth. And just because you get older and you're done playing doesn't mean you can't stop being a badass in a good way.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? Like,
It's
yes.
like we talk about, you know what I'm saying, a lot of guys from different schools. Like I talk about how good Mark Curry was on the basketball
Yeah.
court.
Rest in peace. Yep.
Peace. Um,
Yep.
how
Oh,
good Oliver was at
at
Bearden,
Bearden.
how
Yeah.
good Greg Gibson was at Farragut. Like all these guys that we grew up playing against each other. And that's why this show is great for me, just reliving that and seeing what this new generation brings. And I just got to tell you, like, I love the fact that we do this for our school and the surrounding schools to give light on what
Mhm.
adults now and what we're looking at, because the game is fun. We just want to make sure that we're letting you know, hey, look, these views are not of the school. These are just grown men views of what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And adults, we just want to get that to the public on, okay, this is what it comes from, like as an adult, what I'm seeing on the court, what I'm seeing on the field. Like that's why our football team has been dominant, because
Mhm.
and what we are conveying to you. Like this is what we're saying. That's what we're seeing.
And this program deserves it. These kids deserve, to be to get that out there and have a talk show about them. I mean, we wished we would have had something like this. Two guys like Stallion and Two Pair 20 years ago talking about, oh man, did you see that hit by the Stallion? Did you see that jump shot from Two Pair? I mean, like it's just awesome.
All
I
right.
mean,
It
yeah.
is. It truly is. And I'm glad we got to do this show. I'm glad we had Troy on tonight.
Oh, Troy was amazing. I mean, all of our guests, Big O, Mike Morrow, Terry. I mean, and it's just going to keep going. And I'll tell you this, there's a dude of all dudes that the thing is I don't want to talk about one player better than another because, there could be people that accomplished way more off the field or off the
There's
court
two basketball guys we got to get on
without a doubt,
here.
without a doubt.
There's two, and there's actually more than two. To be honest, I just don't know if he'll be up this late because he normally gets into bed early. So
That's the thing too. Like we almost need to do like taped interviews or something like that and air them.
out there, we got to get Stu Oaks on here one
We
time.
do have to get Stewart. No, we got to get a Stewart on here. I mean, obviously Anthony Bennett has promised to be on
Hey,
the show. He has. He said that he'd be able to maybe come on in May or June, and I'd love to have him on. Brandon Bell, I know, is busy doing the acting thing, so I'd love to have him
Michael
on.
Maddox. I like
Michael Maddox,
that.
and I'll tell you this. The last thing I had, I just wanted to talk about that West. That there were two football games announced by Mark Packer and the Rivalry Thursday. Once again, West is going to be starting off the season on a Saturday. I don't know the time, but it's at Bearden, so it's going to be West at Bearden on TV for the LMU Kickoff Classic. Last year was a classic, ending with West winning on that Hail Mary. Bearden's going to be wanting that payback, and West is going for 6 in a row. Obviously, back-to-back champs. I don't know what time they'll do because traditionally when the game's been played at Bearden, the game on Saturday night has always been at night. And West did it at noon last year. I don't know if Bearden wants to do a noon game again with all that heat and everything. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on the time. But I can tell you that on Thursday, October 17th, Anderson County will travel to West, and that'll be the game of the week on Rivalry Thursday that week. And then obviously shout out to John Boynton and his guys at Diamond Clear Media. I hope they come back for the third straight year to broadcast the other West games that aren't on television. And then of course there's the playoffs where we will be on, hopefully like we were the last couple of weeks or whatever. We were that playoff Friday game against Powell and Walker Valley, and of course the state games are all televised. So hopefully we'll be on for 15 more games for everybody to see. And that is just a tribute to the program. And thank you to the coaches like Lamar and Scott and everybody else that agreed to that, because there's a lot of hoopla with them Thursday games. It's a shorter week to prepare. You have to do the interviews and all that stuff. And not many coaches want all that hoopla, but at the same time, you also want that exposure. And of course, we're given that exposure now. So it's just a tribute that how good the program is to even be on twice, let alone one time. And there's only 10 weeks in the regular season. They try to get as many teams as they can on there and make sure the matchup is intriguing and sexy and so forth like that. And it's a lot to determine in February when you hadn't even gone through spring ball yet and you don't even know who's going to be playing and who isn't. So yeah. Right. But I wish the guys luck on Saturday. Leave it out there, man. Win or lose, leave it out there. And especially for Hunter and Dane, I know that it's been a really interesting senior year when it comes to basketball, but don't take off the uniform unless you absolutely have to. We all have to at the end of it. But
I mean, we just got to see them compete and fight for it. Just fight for it. And let's just try to make some history, if anything possible. But I just hope they haven't packed it in and they're just burnt out. It's a lot of games.
It is.
The snow really affected this season. I just don't know how different this season is if you're not playing. Like that schedule is horrendous. Because I don't want to harp too much on it because we gotta go because we've been on for a while.
Yeah, a couple hours. So, but
that turnaround from the 26th, the 29th, the 30th, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 5th,
the 6th. I mean, that was terrible, man. That was awful. I mean, like that's a lot of basketball, and I mean, I think all the teams are really beat the hell out of when you look at some of the guys that were not even playing for Bearden last Friday against us. Normally probably would be playing because they're in boots and sickness and all sorts of stuff going on. So, but listen, great show as always. I'm intrigued with our show for next week because one of two things is going to happen. We're just going to talk about Saturday's game, or there's a potential that you could be talking about Saturday and Tuesday with a potential of a region championship at Maryville on Thursday night. So I'm hoping for the latter rather than the former, and I'm willing it into existence. Weston Maryville for the 4th time, maybe 4th time's the charm. Get your revenge against Bearden, shock Oak Ridge, and have a chance to host a sub-state game against one of the Tri-City teams from up in the Northeast. That's my challenge, Rebels. Be rebels with a cause and get it done.
Absolutely.
2-Pair, I love you as always, man. We always end every show by throwing up the W, and that's what we're going to do right now for our Rebels Hoops teams, for all of our teams. And thank you again to Troy Smith, wonderful guest as always, and all the guests and all the viewers, everybody that commented, Michael Lynn, Terry Maples, even those that are quiet behind the scenes. Shout out to all y'all. Shout out to the players. Shout out to the parents. Shout out to the coaches. All your hard work. So.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Close us out, 2-Pair, as always.
All right, man. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And hey, make sure you don't step on them shoes. Rebel with a cause.
You know it. Stallion and 2-Pair out.